dark wood. We also found the remains of a pristine outhouse and a collapsed wood pile. We investigated the cabin. Parts of the floor had fallen away, and we found the body of a humanoid, unidentified, in the corner by a magic item. After investigating the rooms and Abel talking to a family of squirrels, a meteor flew over the cabin and landed in the snow. Johnny rushed to retrieve it. Henri and Grin took quite a terrible fall off the cabin as they were moving outside. And the rest of the folks stayed close and tried to help them up. As Johnny returned with this golden sort of orb, which contained an hourglass, a gift from the mistress to the little girl that can cast divination spells. We also talked to the ghost of Macretus, and we found out that it was his body that was inside the cabin, and he had seemingly died when he tried to activate his item, or at least trying to fix it so the effects would be permanent. We ended the session with Kino turning to Vin and saying if he was going to stick around, she asked that he would submit himself to a zone of truth spell just so she could get to know him a bit better and ask him some questions.
Perfect. All right, cool. All right, so Gage, are you back?
Yep.
All right, cool. All right.
So basically, we left off with Kino's holding up the amulet that increases your constitution. She said, "I'll be happy to give this to you, but I would prefer if, and I know you didn't want your mind being read, and do not, I do not expect we will have to do that. I just simply want to make sure that what you're telling us is the truth."
By the way, I'm gonna play Johnny this session, guys.
Not a problem.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
That's not an unreasonable request.
Perfect. And I look at brother.
Yeah, the Zone of Truth's already up.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So, who have you worked for in the past?
Sorry, guys. Hold on one second. Sorry. Is there an echo on your guys' side?
I hear that.
Yeah,
too.
that's me. I'm still trying to sort this out. I'm not
Okay.
certain what's.
Yeah, because I was gonna say I don't think that music was on my side. Okay, cool. All right.
Getting
Okay.
close. Sorry.
No worries. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure. I thought it was on me, but it's not. Okay, cool. All right. All right. Go ahead. Continue. Sorry.
You asked who I've worked for in the past.
Who have you worked for in the past?
Well, I wouldn't say I've worked for very many people. A lot of people come and ask favors of me. I'm more of a facilitator than any kind of agent myself. In the past, worked for. Does the name Lohengrin mean anything to you?
Does it?
Sounded like Grin.
No.
Would it mean anything to me since I've been in Waterdeep before?
I could. I mean, if you don't, so chances are it's still decently obscure. Just make a history check and see if you remember anything about his like actual deeds. And I just have
18.
Okay. I guess so. I guess give him a bit. Then you can give him a bit on one of the more like famous things.
Are
the
you guys
guy's
hearing me
done.
now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, perfectly clear.
Lohengrin would have been a pretty much a nobody, but he did one rather large bank heist in Waterdeep and made up with a significant amount of money. The only reason that it was had as much attention as it did is because that the bank vault that he robbed belonged to one of the mass lords of Waterdeep, and it was pretty. Everyone, no one would talk to the cops, but everyone knew that this is the guy that did it. He's just other than that, he's just a pretty common thief. He's had one notable heist.
And I'm so sorry about this. Elise, did anybody give you the Twitch stream?
Yep, I'm in already.
Okay, cool. Sorry. Go continue, guys.
I'm in, but I have a black screen. Is that right?
No,
It should not be.
Okay. Let's,
Is it? Can everyone else see everything though?
I can
Yeah,
see
I'm
it.
good.
Okay,
can.
cool.
Do you have any
And I'm
existing
in.
contracts?
existing contracts. No formal contracts at the moment. Unfortunately, I am out of business. As if I were not, I would still be in Waterdeep, as you can see by my current surroundings. I'm kind of, as we'll say, in between jobs.
Okay. Besides Waterdeep, have you lived anywhere?
Yes,
Where?
it. How do I want to put this? The land of the elves is as much as I can say.
I'm sure you can say more.
I
You want me to
can.
get a map?
Oh, it won't be on that map.
Is it on this plane?
I feel challenged by this.
You would probably anybody can make a history check on that because it's rather obscure knowledge. Keep talking. Actually, I know exactly what he's talking about, but it is still obscure. So
For my history check, I have a 17 plus 3 is 20.
okay, so you would know about this a little bit then. So essentially, you know that
20
the
from
elves just
Abel.
yeah. So both of you know that the elves disappeared a long time ago in a place that's magically obscured. You wouldn't know any details on how, where it is exactly. The only thing that you would know is that there's stories about people having essentially like magical passages. So where you could essentially sail into this place where like the storms get obscured and the fog gets obscured and you can like go in, but otherwise it's impossible to find.
It's a
Hmm.
rather tempestuous
Possible.
place, and
Yeah.
one I'd rather not visit again
Yeah.
if I had the choice.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Very powerful elves decided that they were going to basically separate themselves outside of society, and this is presumably where they live. Although you would have to like find a living person that came back from there, which just wouldn't have been the case. So
Good to know. It looks like I'm talking to one right here. And have you ever heard of us before? The Torchbearers or any of us by name?
Should I have?
no, you
hope
wouldn't
not.
have heard of them. No, you definitely would not have heard of them.
Well, no, he said that in character because he hasn't heard of them. But should he have?
Not if we're doing our job correctly.
That's probably the wisest thing anyone said since I've been here.
Do me a favor and make a history check yourself, just because there was something that happened when they were children, but it was famous, but it would have been obscure knowledge. So just do a really quick history check since you're from Waterdeep.
16.
We weren't the
Okay,
torchbearers when we were children, though, right?
No, not at all. I just want to no. It's the description of brother that would cause this, and you didn't roll high enough, so it doesn't matter.
I'm fine.
Yeah, because brother looks the same. Remember from back then, so. And he's also a very like obscure like metal thing. Your description also plays into this a little bit, Abel, but it doesn't matter in this case.
What would you say the worst thing you've ever done is?
Oh, you jumped into the deep end.
Oh, this is just the beginning.
That's a loaded question and one that is really susceptible to perception. Now, do I
I'm
base
full of
that
it.
on your morality or my morality? Based on apparently the things you've done,
I'm not asking you.
candles next to an inferno.
I'm not asking you what you think, what I think is the worst thing you've ever done. I'm asking you, what personally do you think is the worst deed you've ever committed?
Probably left home the way I did.
And how was
Parents
that?
weren't too happy about that.
I'm sorry to hear that.
and that is something I am not going to get into.
That's fine. Have you ever killed someone before?
Me personally, no, never. Have I facilitated the act many times?
I totally feel that, my friend. And what would you say is the most expensive thing you own on your person?
Valuable?
Expensive.
Well, I'm gonna.
This way, we take all of the guesswork out of it.
He reaches into his pocket and brings out a little leather-bound book. Undoubtedly, this.
Does it look familiar at all?
No.
What is that? A spell book?
No, oh, nothing as ornate as that. Just a. Well, I would say the last 5 years of work wrapped up in a little leather cord.
Do you mind if I take a look?
Sure. He
All right.
tosses it to him. As
Pick
you
it up.
as you flip through it, you would see a list of names. Each page, a single person, and there's probably 3 dozen of them. It's likes, dislikes, interests, routines, secrets, mistresses, things of this nature, blackmail information, and favors owed. All these people indebted to Vinny from back home.
Very interesting. I close the book and I hand it back to you. It's good to know. Do you have any cursed or sentient items on your person?
I'm aware of. If I did, I would have sold that shit a long time ago.
All right, perfect. Are you in possession of any items that disguise yourself physically or magically?
Nuh-uh. I can kind of already do that myself. So,
Okay.
why bother?
Are you disguised at this time?
No.
Oh, this is less about you, but sort of as a precaution. Do you have any like extra dimensional spaces on you that would prevent us from putting you in another one?
Wait, what?
We have extra dimensional capabilities that if you had an extra dimensional item, say a portable haul or a bag of holding or a handy haversack, if it came into contact with one of these items, you bad things would happen. Terrible.
Make an
things.
so do me a favor, just real quick. Make an Arcana check on what they just said. Just
Yeah,
as
no need. He says I don't even know what any of those things are. I don't. What are you?
no, that's not why though.
Okay,
Make an Arcana check real quick. Sorry. Yep.
16 again.
Okay. The only thing that you do know about the fact that if they put you into an extra dimensional space is it will kill you in 10 minutes because you will die of suffocation. That's private knowledge.
I don't know what any of those things are, so
Yeah.
no. Hopefully not.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
We'll try to keep it that way.
Probably safe.
What languages
I'm
do
not
you
planning
speak?
on putting you in a bag or anything like that. I just wanted to make certain things come up.
What languages do you happen to speak?
Languages. Speak. And he goes through. He says common and common. He says elven and elven, and he says sylvan and sylvan, and then he actually, like he says a couple sentences. He also works in thieves' camp there to see if anyone picks it up.
You see a glimmer of recognition when you say Elven and Common, but the rest I just completely miss. You kind of get a head turn when you speak in Sylvan. Like that's not. I kind of understand that, but I don't.
It's a different dialect. It's ancient elf. Spend a long enough time in the forest, and it'll come to you.
May I ask you where you got those scars?
He's a brawl, and a rather painful one at that.
Where
That's
was
why
this brawl?
it was at my bar.
You owned a bar.
My name wasn't on the deed, but if you asked anyone who knew anything who it belonged to, they would have told you me.
And who were you fighting?
Another one of someone I don't know how to explain this to someone who's never been there.
You could start with a name.
I have to get my sheet up if I can actually tell you the name. 1 second. So another facilitator of misdeeds and collector of power. His name's Gion. Kind of, we'll call it a very hostile takeover. And
Yes.
yeah, I underestimated him, and it's not
Grin.
something I'm keen to repeat.
Corinne, so while they're talking, going through all this, your danger sense goes off because the house shifts like 2 millimeters to the right. Make a dexterity saving throw though. But your danger sense, I believe, gives you advantage on saves, right?
Yes.
Everyone make dexterity saving throws?
No. Just Grin right now.
So tell me about the
16.
party.
Sorry?
Okay. All right. So, Grin, you feel like something passed through your body that was not solid, and it was energy, and you felt for a split, like tiny fraction of a second, the worst pain you've ever felt in your entire life, and it went away just as fast. It was shocking, and it caught your breath, and that was it. And you noticed that the cabin shifted 2 millimeters or less.
Guys, something's happening.
I pull out my sword. What's going on?
That's illuminating.
I
Only
describe.
you, yeah, and of course, only you felt this, Grin.
Yeah, and I describe it as you did.
Henri runs over to Grin and like checks on him.
Shifting structures is rather characteristic of strong winds, which, as he gestures to the blizzard outside, we seem to be in the midst of.
Yeah.
No, it was
And-
worse than that.
Do I
Something's
see
wrong.
the horns?
By the way,
Just-
you guys see up and like above you in this in the cosmos, you see what looks like green falling stars, almost like a meteorite shower, just streaking through the sky at this point. There are 40 or 50 of these streaks. It's not like the previous one where it actually got brighter, so you knew that it was landing outside and you could hear it. These all streaked across as you guys were talking, and nothing. It just happened in a split second.
Looks like
I'm going to
President.
suggest we move
But they were
to the part of
green.
the
They were
building
very,
away
very-
from the edge.
Yep. Sure, of course. And they were
How about-
all they were like bright green.
Might I suggest we abscond from this rather rickety structure and get back to a more civilized part of town to just continue this discussion?
It's still snowing out.
That's a long way, but we certainly want to be in the part of the building not over a cliff anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
let's move.
Sure. Okay. So who wants to go out? Or who? Tell me what you guys are doing.
Are we just moving into one of the further back rooms?
That's what I'm suggesting. It's still cold
Okay.
outside.
Yeah, it's a blizzard outside. So okay. So would you like to go? So Kino, your character moves first. You go over here. Where would you like to be? Would you like to be in this room? Would you like to be in the back room? Would you like to be here?
Do we want to move into the workshop? Is that far enough away?
All right.
Fine with that.
So Kino starts to move over this way. Is everyone going to follow Kino?
I will.
Yeah, I will keep the zone up and keep V in it.
Okay. Yep.
And Grin will be the last one out of the room.
All right. Cool.
As I'm walking there, I'm just gonna pop a divine sense.
Yeah.
Gross.
You do not feel anything at this time, Kino. However,
Oh boy.
Abel, when you were walking over, go ahead and make a dexterity saving throw.
All right. I'm horrible at those.
Yeah. Let's see what you get.
Kaylee made a meatloaf for dinner. It's amazing.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh wow, wow, that
It's
happened
actually
a lot.
it's actually one higher than that, but it's still a nat one.
Oh, you got a nat one?
Oh
Okay.
shit.
The total of 3, if that matters. But yeah.
It's all right. Okay. Hold on one second.
And just a reminder, Chris, I have a passive perception of 18.
Yep. Yeah.
For
So
whatever,
go ahead.
I was going to say, for whatever reason, it doesn't add the +1 from the timepiece. I don't know why.
Okay, no worries. Yeah. Yeah. So Abel, this is what ended up happening. As you walked over, as you were just walking this direction and walked over, you felt almost like you were in. So you actually, for a split second, see yourself in an abandoned, ruined, stone structure. And it's very split second. There's no snow or anything else. And then you see yourself underwater briefly. And the only reason you knew that you were underwater for sure is you could feel it on your skin. But it happened so quickly that when you're now standing to where you were, you're only slightly damp. And then when it ends up happening is you feel like there's like essentially like pain all throughout your body, and you can't really you have no idea what's going on. Abel starts walking over here and he crumbles to the floor. Let's see what he gets. This is gonna suck, Abel.
Okay.
Oh, shit, I'm out of lay on hands.
All right,
Is
so
that
it's
10?
yeah. So but it's also +9. So you took 72 points of damage. How many hit points do you have?
Less.
He has 52.
Right.
He has 52,
52.
so it's not total.
Yeah, it's not total. So you're on the ground dying. It's okay because
What kind of damage was that?
radiant damage.
Oh, okay. Ooh.
Yeah. So Johnny.
Okay, we should probably leave the house.
I would suggest that.
All right, hold on one second.
If I'm right there, I would like to cast something if I get a chance.
Yeah, go for it. You can cast something.
Cure wounds.
Yep. Yeah, you're gonna cure wounds, Abel. Johnny's still over here.
You take 5 points of healing damage.
Healing damage.
Yeah. All right. Everyone can do everyone that's magically inclined, I should say, can do an Arcana check right now to find out what is going on.
Oops.
I'm going to cast the 3rd level bard spell, Motivational Speech.
Yep.
And I'm going to give these guys a rousing annotation, like a story that reminds me of a time that I stayed at someplace too long that I didn't need to be at. Everyone's going to get 5 temporary hit points. You have advantage on wisdom saving throws. And if you're hit by an attack, you have advantage on the next attack roll you make. It lasts for an hour.
So Abel has the highest with a 20, and then I'm in second with an 18.
All right, Abel. What's happening is you don't know where the actual zone is, and you don't know where the effect takes place, but the cabin itself is traveling at this point through space-time at an incredibly high rate of movement. So the cabin is traveling, even though you can't feel it, even though you look outside and it looks like everything's static. Magically, the cabin itself is traveling. And what ends up happening is that when you were walking through this place, you caught into something which you believe is on like a tiny level. You don't really know what this means. Out of game, it's like on a subatomic level, but on some kind of like strange level where you're basically catching things where like reality is skipping in and stopping at places. So, for instance, the damage comes from your body literally running into other physical planes, which is awful. Now it's happening so briefly that you're not completely obliterated instantly, and so your body has time, your cell, everything, you have time to recover, but it still can be lethal. You don't know where this is, and you don't think that it's necessarily the entire. So with your 20, it's probably in this room here where everything is unstable and where like the sky is like doing all crazy stuff. So it's probably confined to these rooms. So if you can get outside to one of these areas here, you're reasonably confident that you'll be safe. But that's what's happening. There's some kind of unstable like magic going on and going through it. Johnny's still back here, so we're gonna
I will
see.
tell people that this room is slamming into other planes, worlds, dimensions, or something,
Yeah.
and we need to get out of here. I think the room, maybe the house. I'm not certain.
And my motivational speech concludes.
I'm going to use Mage Hand to pick up the robe with the suns on it.
So yeah, all 5 of you get 5 temporary
Oh.
HP.
So
Cute.
are you talking about the robe on the body? It's out of range now if you're in the safe area or theoretical safe area, Kino, because you were the
Oh,
first
yeah.
one to move. So it's way out of range. You could of course go back and try. But yeah.
I'm going to call it to Johnny then to see if he's still back there.
No, Johnny's still back there and prone. Just give me a second though. I'm pulling up a sheet. I just want to see something.
I did not
Yeah.
expect.
Johnny does not have 5 temporary HP.
If Grin sees Johnny prone, he's gonna go over and try and get him up.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So you run over. So Johnny's still conscious, and he says, "Grin, get me out of here."
Yeah, Grin picks him up.
All right. So
Just
Grin, you
scoops
go
him right
over.
out.
Yep. You go over. What's your speed is 40, right?
Yeah.
So you're gonna 80. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. All right. That's cool. So you do pick Johnny up. As an action, you pick him up, and then Grin. By the time you get to here, you get to use danger sits. Make a dexterity saving throw.
17.
Same thing happens to you, Grin. Let's. Oh, what am I doing? Hold on one second. Ignore that. Okay. So as this goes through, the same thing happens. You both are able to shrug this off, and you're back here. So Johnny tells you he saw his life flash before his eyes, but
Guys, I don't like this place anymore.
Maybe a little
would-
further just to make certain. But
Caution. Caution.
Abel, you're pretty sure now that you're over here because it's been happening on a quick enough interval that if it happened, you saw it happen to Grin and Johnny because Grin will explain this to you. So now you're certain that it's this room that's the problem. The room
Right.
with the body in it is the issue.
Can we get out of here, please?
What
That would be
is happening?
inadvisable during the snow.
Are there
I'd
windows?
rather take my chances with nature than.
There definitely are windows. Yeah.
Yes.
What does it look like outside?
It
I
looks
think
like
we're safe at the moment.
It's a blizzard outside. It looks like nothing's changed. You don't see any like it's not like you're traveling through the stars or anything like that. It's literally just a blizzard. It's a very confusing thing because after what Abel told you, you looked outside expecting to be traveling through space-time or something, but you're not. There's a blizzard outside.
Blizzard we can deal with. Space-time conundrums, more precarious.
I think we're okay for the moment, but I agree we should leave this place soon.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't
let's
like
just
this
take
place.
stock, make certain that we have everything we need for the travel back before we leave.
I'd kind of rather be out in the cold than in this place.
I agree. It's very wise.
Get in your
sentiment.
gear, button up. Is there anything that we're forgetting here?
Oh, Abel, do you have the squirrels in your pack still?
You did say
I
you're
reached
right.
in and pulled them out.
Oh, fuck.
That must be.
No, they're fine, Abel.
Oh,
They're
look at that.
okay.
So,
The squirrels are small. The only thing you can guess is the squirrels must be small enough where they're able to kind of maybe not be affected by this because you were. So why weren't the squirrels? As a matter of fact, you go through your items too. None of your items look damaged at all. The Modron looks fine.
what was that?
Fine.
All right, let's get in this room. Let's maybe in the bedroom.
We have just met.
We have no time for jokes, sir.
All right, all right. So you rush into the bedroom here.
Did we
As
ever
you look
check the
around
other
to it.
bedroom?
Not yet.
Not yet.
We did not. We'll have time for that.
If it's this kind of group, I can't say I am not interested.
We always say that we have enough time for that, and then we don't.
You have to
Yeah.
make time. You have to make time.
You guys all hear Andre saying that under her breath as she thinks about the chest from the Tomb of Horrors.
How did you know?
Oh, we're talking about two different things, I think.
All right, so you so Kino, you can see that this is where the workshop is. The secret passageway is open. Abel, you've been in this room before.
Why doesn't
And
everyone
Abel,
stick
now
close?
you're certain, by the way, that you're safe.
All right. I'm gonna check over my timepiece that it's okay.
It does seem to be fine. It seems.
If
to be
we
fine.
need to, we can get back to town very quickly.
Perfect.
How?
We can teleport.
Wait. You can't just say these things casually and not follow it up with a how.
So Abel, the only thing you're not sure about is how teleport would interact with the things that you just went.
I
through.
was gonna try to sit there and figure out how I think that would interact. Can I do like an Arcana?
You can do. So you guys see that Abel sits down with the timepiece, and he literally goes outside the room too. And first, Abel, I assume what you do is like throw some objects in this room. You realize they're too small to be affected, so you can't actually see what's happening because you wanted to be able to see it at the same time. That doesn't work. You go back down, you look at the timepiece, you start going through it, and then you take out your tools to go look at the weave. And go ahead and make your Arcana check, and let's see what you know.
26.
All right. So Abel
And,
is
and-
so
and
after
he tells responds to the question how you're going to do that. I have to make certain what time it is.
yeah. So
It's a terrible lie. I will tell you.
yeah. So Abel after 10 minutes has a grave look on his face. Abel, you're pretty certain that if you teleport out of this place while this is happening, you have a shot at getting completely and utterly eviscerated. So it's just too dangerous.
Passive insight is 15, so I definitely can see through the
Yeah.
lies of the Jedi here.
He's lying. Yes. It's not time to teleport. He tells everyone.
Of
Good to know.
course.
Bad time to teleport.
As a matter of fact, you tell everyone also don't put your hands outside of the cabin either. Don't put your hands outside the window. Don't do any of that stuff. You're not certain how it would work. And as you were going through and doing some calculations in your head, you wonder if it would just shear off fingers and things like that. So you tell everyone to not put anything outside of the cabin at this point. You're gonna have to basically either leave the way you came in or find some other kind of creative solution to exit the cabin, but no windows at all. That also means don't fall through the floor either. It's probably very important that you go out from the door that you came into. And with that, Abel, you start thinking about maybe investigating that door more if you get a chance, or running detect magic and trying to figure out what the hell's going on with the whole puzzle here.
Yeah. So be very careful of outside. I think it's bad. You know how there's frostbite? Imagine planar bite.
Okay.
Fingers, limbs falling off, that kind of thing. Stay in the building right now.
So Abel, as you start looking at the body, as you start remembering the
Right
body, I
back.
should say, you also wonder to yourself, at first you were thinking, well, he probably died by messing around with that object, and that certainly could be very true. But at the same time, maybe it was also a complication of what's happening now. And maybe that interacted with the object, or multiple other things start flooding into your mind with the information you've just learned.
I feel like this door might be another way out. I'm going to start studying this. And I'm actually going to cast a detect magic.
Yep.
Not a ritual.
Okay. Yep.
Keep an eye out for the
Time
spell
matters,
book.
right?
Yeah. So right. So you detect. Do you want to walk back into the room?
Yeah.
All right. So this is what you see.
Wait, which room?
Yeah, you're gonna go to the safe area, I assume, but you're gonna walk out so you can see this room. Yeah. This is what you end up seeing. You see outlines, magical outlines of every single iteration of things crashing through, almost to the point where it's blinding, but you can very easily make out the fact that it's changing second by second, and the structures change. First, it's castle ruins, but it's all outlined in your detect magic. Then it's like this area that looks like it's like a plane with like maybe a tree that's right in the middle of it, and it keeps doing that. This is where the damage is coming from. It's happening so fast your eyes can't see it, but the detect magic makes it visible because the light trails for like a second afterwards, a full second, so your eyes can actually process this. So that's what ends up happening. It's physical damage for the most part, but of course it's magically happening as it's going through different planes. What you do notice, you start looking. It takes like literally 5 minutes because you're trying to look through all the light that detect magic is bringing off. You notice there's something going on with the door for sure. The door is solid now. The other thing that you've also noticed is that the little item, the little orb item here, that's glowing much brighter than it was the first time you did it, like the first time you were looking at things. So this is like bringing off a ton of magic. So you're not sure what that's about or whatever, but so the orb is magic. It doesn't look like there's anything else on the body that's magic necessarily, but there is a faint magical aura on notes as well. Other than that, you start looking back. If you open the door in here, by the way, there's no light. Doesn't look like there's anything magical in this room at all.
Okay.
And then as you go back, oops, hold on one second. As you go back into the room here, there are the same magical items that we talked about before. There's these ores that are floating that are like faintly magic. There is something magical about the kiln itself, which you guys will be able to see in a second when I get this back. There we go. So the fire kiln itself has something faintly magical about it. And but
while
other
he's
than that,
walking
there's no
around,
other magic items. Yeah.
while he's around, he's just calling off things as
Yeah.
he goes.
Now, Abel, the thing you also notice, there's a door that goes right out to here. You just don't. This door is not magic, so you just have no idea what'll happen if you go out of it, because it's not magic. That's the problem. So
I'm not gonna open it.
Throw
Yeah.
Johnny through it.
I'm gonna put my hand very close to it and see if I can feel, is there any cold air coming through it, like the blizzard is on the other side, and then if I don't feel anything weird, I will touch it.
Yep. Cool.
I'll investigate it too.
Yeah, go ahead and make an investigation check. Yeah, go ahead and make an investigation check on the door.
Okay.
And what'd you get?
I can't spell. Uh, 21.
21. Okay. One of the things that you notice is that as you're doing the investigation check, there are tiny little cracks through the door itself that you can see outside, where you can see the blizzard. And when you start looking at those tiny little cracks, you notice the cracks are on the outside are much smoother than they're supposed to be and worn where they're supposed to be. And then you realize another horrifying thought, that they're probably getting shaved off by like a fraction of a millimeter, maybe because of whatever force or magic is going on with that. So what you do is you take one of your tools first, one of your tools that you don't really care if it gets like edged on, and you put it all the way through to the point that there's just enough resistance that you bring it back that you realize that your skin would get sheared off if you left the door right now. It'd almost be like a giant blade just slicing you millimeter by millimeter. You cannot leave that way.
I'm
I-
going
I-
to cast Bark
I would
Inspiration
go
on
back and
Abel.
Yep.
show people that this is metal. And he'll explain exactly what kind of steel or whatever it is. And it was out for, like a second, and there's, this much gone. That would be bad if it was flesh. So
Abel,
outside is not a thing right now.
You have Bardic Inspiration for 10 minutes.
By the way,
Okay,
So
something
you can.
so you have a memory of something, Gage. So your character has a memory of something briefly. It's a memory of Mythalars, and you vaguely remember that the Mythalars themselves, the big ones, those rings now look slightly familiar to you. Now, a real Mythalar has a 50 feet diameter and has a huge glowing center with a bunch of rings on the outside. That's what basically made the cities float. And then you start putting two together, and you're like, "What the fuck?" It's almost like that the device that the guy had. It's almost like it's modeled after a small Mythalar, a tiny version, like a toy model.
What are you that you're having these memories?
Now this is private, obviously. but
Yeah.
Which
Wouldn't you like to know?
What the
Yeah.
fuck?
It's just something you heard about. Obviously, this is a memory from something you heard about. This is a memory from your studies, from everything that you've been researching, from all the people you talked to, from
My
bargains
many
you made in Waterdeep.
associates,
Yeah, exactly.
my vast network of Mary Sue-ness.
Yeah.
Mm,
But that's what was so
Okay.
striking about the object. You just put two and two together. Like that's what you remembered about this thing. Yeah.
All right. Well, doesn't seem very pertinent for the
Yeah.
moment.
Okay.
I will just cross my arms and look to Abel. Be like, all right, man with the plan. What is it?
Well, okay, outside is bad. Falling through the floor, being in that room is bad. I don't know how long whatever's going on will last. Hopefully the building will last, although maybe not. So maybe another way out would be good, but I don't think teleport would work.
So
Um,
the timing on this is really, really important. So as Abel was having that conversation, as you had that memory with your passive perception of 18, you see this before anyone else. Something in Johnny's like robe starts to glow.
oh my.
It does look like a staff. Johnny perks up, and keep in mind that this happens immediately as you're having that memory. For your character, Gage.
Is that
Johnny
supposed
perks
to
up,
glow?
and
Gross.
as you say that too, and as Abel is going through it, in a surprise, Johnny makes a dash out here for the actual object with the staff out in hand.
Well,
Let's
it was
see if
good
he makes
Johnny,
it.
no.
meeting you.
Son
Bye.
of-
Oh!
Well, he
Johnny.
might make it. Let's see what happens. You guys are going through it. He says, "Nope, I'm doing this for my mistress." And let's see. He does fail though. Okay, so hold on one second.
To be fair,
Um,
he seemed like a right prick. So
Well, this
Let's
might be
see.
it.
No one healed Johnny, right?
no
That's
one.
right.
Nope.
Oh, not only he's fucking overkilled anyway. Okay, well that's convenient.
Jesus.
Oh,
Not only did he completely over. So this is what ends up happening. So Abel, you also run out to.
I'll be right back.
It's kind of important that you'll see this anyway. So Abel, you run out to see Johnny as well.
To the
He
edge of the
almost
room.
gets there. He almost gets to it. Almost. And what ends up happening is, Johnny literally explodes in almost like a B movie version of gore, in more than 1,000 pieces. It's actually like almost like a water balloon going through, but then his blood also gets smeared out and other things. Now, his items and his clothing fall to the floor. They don't even get messed up because apparently they're too small to be affected by this, but his body, everything else just literally gets obliterated.
Ooh.
I actually did not expect him to die like this, but it's convenient. So, all right. So his character is here. All of his stuff, I should say, is sitting here, around 25 feet from the other body.
Okay.
Andre's just gonna like
Uh,
slide to the floor in shock.
Yep.
I'm going to put a mouth over my hand.
A mouth over your hand?
A storm at sea. A hand over my mouth.
See it storm.
A sea at storm.
That's too far away for Mage Hand, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Does anyone have unseen servant?
Johnny blew up.
Poor that guy. What
Or
his
was
name again?
shredded by other planes or whatever.
Now,
It was pretty
now,
gross.
as this happens and as you go through it, the one thing you do see is a really, really dim but very pronounced shadowy outline of Johnny. And then what ends up happening is you see his body reform almost in an instant, really, really quickly. And then, but he's wearing no clothes or anything. It's naked Johnny. And then he gets recalled, just like you've seen him get recalled
Nice.
1,000 times. So the body does reform, and then he's sucked out.
Ew. Well, that was more than I ever needed to be.
He got naked and then sucked out.
You got Terminated.
Yeah, he doesn't get sucked out, just like he.
What a way to
got-
go!
Probably a poor choice towards on my part, but yeah, he does. He gets completely taken out, just like you've seen him get taken out before.
Just like every warlock dreams of.
Now, here's what everyone else realizes. Number one, resurrections are not working right now. So whatever happened, you're dubious that Johnny did get resurrected. You don't know what happened. At the same time, it's the whole scene would be very confusing for everybody. You did see him die, or you're pretty certain you saw him die.
Can I?
Yep.
I request
wouldn't go out there.
Yeah, I request some clarification on whatever the fuck that was.
I wish I could tell you. That isn't cursed.
Yeah.
That was a warlock, Willie. I
And
saw.
he was with you.
He was.
Oh,
And
no
he
longer.
just said, "Fuck y'all, I'm doing what I want to do." Ran out to the thing that you told him was dangerous and
Well-
blew up, and then came back as a ghost.
Yeah.
What?
That's less surprising than you'd think.
Yeah, that's happened many times. You'd be surprised.
Do you folks value your okay?
We
whatever.
warned them.
Alright.
If
We
you
told
have a
them.
living will, now would be the time to store it with me.
Store it with you? Yeah, no. If this is the the action that you guys see as normal, I might be the last one alive out of everyone.
So
Oh, no, he's reckless. I mean,
yeah, he's the most reckless of us.
Oh, well, at least that is a recognizable trait.
Brother is very cautious.
Yes.
I slowly pull out my prayer book and the quill and start adding a name to the list.
Yep.
I feel like we should gather up some of him, so maybe we could bring him back, or someone can.
In time.
But I'm
Why?
not going.
We have to actually get into the room, which is near impossible right now.
I mean, is he like very close to you? In the middle about you? You have strong emotional ties?
Yeah, he's family to some.
Those things are magic.
All right.
Yeah.
So, okay.
I guess I just don't see it. I just don't. Okay, I just don't see it.
Elise, we're gonna do this in real time. It's gonna be just as disorienting for you as well. For 3 minutes, starting now, your character in a ghostly apparition appears in this room here. I'm just gonna give you a placeholder. You don't need to know. Don't worry about not knowing anything, because that's how disorienting this would be in real life. This is the first time you've been able to materialize, by the way, in weeks. And not to mention the fact that you already know that it's fleeting. You know that this is not going to end up lasting. I'm going to give you the first 3 minutes of real time starting now. But you can describe, you can go ahead and describe like a very vague, brief outline of what your character looks like, all that fun stuff. So.
All right. So all of a sudden in this room appears a very, very confused looking small kobold with a fairly small stature, feathers coming out of the back of their head, or at least what looks like feathers. They're an apparition, so it's kind of hard to tell. They just look very, very confused as they have materialized somehow.
Yep. And all of you can see this. It's very clear it's a ghost, but you can see it very clearly.
They're just getting worse and worse every time we see one.
Ooh, I like that one. That one looks like
It's a
tiny
ghost
dragon.
kobold.
Hello?
Oh, is this one of your friends?
I thought when they died, they stayed dead.
I sort of wave. Hello? Can you hear us?
Can I hear them?
Yes, you can.
All right.
You can hear them, and you can talk. Yep.
Hello?
You might want to get out of that room. It's bad things are happening.
Okay, this is the first time I've existed in a while, but sure.
Walk towards us.
Elba will exit the room.
Yep. Okay. You'll see it when the stream catches up, but yep.
That room's not safe. Outside's not safe. This
Yes.
hall's okay. The room behind us is okay.
Well, I thought only the main room was unsafe.
That's right. Correct. Only the main room is unsafe. Only this room here, you were able to tell Abel is unsafe. If you can see my screen as it comes up, it's only where you can see the stars. So it's only this room here. Sorry.
I wasn't certain why Keanu was saying that room was unsafe, but I was just.
Oh,
Yeah.
am I? Sorry.
No, Kino, it's probably just a bad description on my part. But so the only room that's not safe right now is the main room. Unfortunately, the room
okay.
with the exit.
I think my
coincidentally, the
stream
room
was
with the
just
exit,
behind.
But
I think
yeah.
my stream was
I thought
just
you were
behind
just
when
trying to
yeah.
talk her out of that room.
anyway, I'll give you some more time. So go ahead. I'll add some time to the clock so you can talk at least. But go for it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I have to worry about getting harmed at this point, since I appear to be quite dead. I'm not even sure exactly how I'm appearing before you, but here I am, and to be completely honest, I have no idea what's happening at this moment.
Shoo.
Don't shoo her. Stop. What?
I just appeared for the first time, and I don't know how I'm being told to be shooed.
Where
Take
are
out
you
a
from?
bar of platinum, rub it smooth so it shines, and then show it to her for a mirror.
Yep.
Well, as you can imagine, not from around here. I'm still a little bit dazed, as you might be able to imagine suddenly rematerializing would do to you.
Where are you from?
Well, once upon a time, I was, part of a kobold den, but I have since left to pursue my own interests. And I, at some point, ended up here, and, well, I stopped living at some point here.
Do I see a color?
No,
Holy shit,
no, you just see another. You just see like a very pale blue like outline. At this point, you also see in the middle of a room a very tall, almost 7 foot tall elven figure. He does, even though he's elven, you can tell that he's getting along in his years, which would make him considerably old for an elf.
This asshole.
So so you recognize him right away. This is Macretus. And he materializes in the middle of the room, and he says, so someone got themselves killed again. He said, listen, I don't have a bunch of time. We are on the border, Ethereum. Anyone that dies here cannot die. We can't move on. I can't move on. Friend here can't move on. However, he said, listen, all you have to do is finish my device. Finish the Summer Star. It's sitting there, right on my body. Finish the Summer Star, and we can move on.
How do we
It's
get
the
into
summer.
the room?
He said, unfortunately, very carefully. He said, you're going to have to make a dash for it at this point. He said, this is what ended up killing me. He points to the sky. He said, look, I don't actually know what the phenomenon is above this room. All I know is that as I was finishing the Summer Star, this happened. But you don't understand. There are so many far worse things that I know about now that I'm dead. He said, I've been here for years. It seems like, although it's muddled, and I have a recollection that it's only been weeks. But to me, you have to understand it's been years. And he looks over to you, Elise. And he says, "How long has it been for you?" And I'll let you decide, Elise. You can tell me what you think. How long you've been here?
Uh, uh, that's a good question.
He said exactly.
Maybe.
He said, "This is what the border Ethereum does to you." He said, "We are not even dead." He said, "This is an existence worse than undeath." He said, "This is all we need to do. I'm certain. Let's get my Summer Star working. Let's get what I needed to do done, and I'm hoping that that will at least stabilize the room itself." As I was working, and he points up to the ceiling, that happened. I think it has something to do with the fact that maybe I didn't put 3 rings on it. He said, "By the way, be careful. This is a Netherese artifact that I modified to get this to work. It was
And
the only way that I could actually get a working climate control device. I only had one. I don't really understand it myself. This is part of why all hell broke loose." He said, "We fix this. I'm pretty certain we can fix whatever's going on in the ceiling." And he said, at that point, we can probably get the room stable and go through it. He said, "I warn you though. I warn you. If you hold that item, be careful, because I vaguely remember before I died being incinerated by radiant magic." He said, "I don't know how or why or whatever, but the other thing too," he said, "Look," he said, "if anyone can cast a spell," he said, try your best to dispel the ceiling. I don't think you'll be able to, but at the very least, it'll give you a window. Maybe if your magic is strong enough, you can at least have enough time, maybe a couple seconds, to run over, grab the object, or do whatever you would need to do and bring it back. By the way, let's get it in my workshop. I'm pretty sure it needs 3 or 4 rings." And as he says that, he dissipates. Unfortunately, you dissipate too, Elise. The ghosts go away. Abel, you, from your previous Arcana check, and from the fact that he said someone must have died, death is it's basically the power of death. It's like a blood magic like residue thing that's allowing these guys to materialize. You can explain this to the group, but essentially when someone dies and gets stuck here, they go through it. Now, it's interesting because Johnny didn't materialize with them. So that means that Johnny maybe isn't caught in the border material. You're not exactly
Yeah,
sure.
sucked
Maybe.
away.
Right. So yeah, go ahead.
you guys, maybe this is just an outsider's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
We're someone a little bit less adjusted, but the fuck is going on here?
No, this is slightly more chaotic than we're used to. Only slightly.
No, no, it's not. This is fairly normal.
So your friend that you call family dies in front of you, turns to a ghost. No
He
one
killed
questions this.
No.
You all devote your attention to Scaly McDragonfuck, which appears over there, and then disappears just as quickly as she arrives.
Hey,
Friend got sucked
out
away
of
by
character, Henri's still staring in shock at where Johnny went.
Yeah.
No, Kino was looking at the dragon. Kino was very quickly pulled away from naked Johnny.
And now we have to fix a fucking mythol so we can get out of here.
That seems
Speaking
like
of that, so we have to go get that device.
Yeah.
Trust me, those things are not fun or simple. Believe me.
By the way, Henri, since you had the history of another, you can make a history check on what a mythalar is.
I know out of character what a mythalar is.
Yeah.
I was.
You know what? I'd give you advantage since you'd have the history anyway. Go ahead and make it with advantage.
So, Vin, you want to go grab that for us?
I'll
not
do it.
only no, but fuck no.
14.
Okay.
I'm the fastest and hardest to kill.
These are the things that allowed the city to float. They're giant. They allow whole cities to float, but more than that, more powerful than that, they do amazing things. Like, for instance, if you can attune to a mythalar, and 8 people can, they will do things like let your items bring back charge. Like if you had like a staff that had a charge of magic missile, you could get unlimited charge with this thing. It's basically a fountain of magic. Better, you can actually use them to create brand new spells that are higher level. And even better than that, if you ever got your hands on a Mythlar, you might actually be able to do things like create like huge like wizard towers just from the Mythlar itself, which means you could actually create like a floating, like there's all kinds of uses. They're dangerous though. There's a downside. If you're not powerful, if you're not like, once you get attuned to them, if you aren't at a certain level meta game wise, and this is actually in the canon, when you start to use them, disasters can happen. They can actually kill you and all kinds of other things. But as you level up, they become safer and safer to use. Anyway,
And
but they're awesome.
I assume Vincantia would know all this, seeing
Yeah,
as
yeah, of course.
his goal. Yeah.
Yep, you do. You don't have to make an Arcana check on.
So if Grin is running out there, I'm not fucking going out there, but I can help him.
Right. Before anyone runs
Bryn,
out
are
of
you
there, didn't he say if we can like suppress the magic, it'll give us longer time and like we can?
I don't-
Oh, by the way, Henri, one of the things you also remember is that even though Karsus didn't create the Mythalar, he perfected it. So he was the one who perfected this kind of magic item. He didn't create them, but he did eventually perfect them. It's also part of why things went poorly, but you don't really know much about that or remember any of it. It wasn't really
Well,
written.
prick.
because
Cool, then
you
we'll just call
remember.
Karsus here. That's out of character, by the way. That's completely joking. That's not. what I'm
Okay,
saying.
goddamn, I was about to freak out.
Now,
Oh yeah.
would Abel feel like maybe that this Mythalar being used as it is maybe causing some sort of unwanted, unknown, unintentional interaction with what he was trying to do here?
Well, so there's three different theories that you have. The first theory is that the Mythalar itself, it's definitely not a full Mythalar. This is an ancient Netherese, probably toy like prototype that this guy got his hands on. That, or it's some kind of like testing thing for wizards going through it. That's your best guess right now, unless they were able to create like tiny ones. But here's the thing: you're pretty sure it's not. You're pretty sure that it's probably some kind of either prototype or whatever, and it's just based on having really, really powerful magic. So this isn't even really like the beginnings of a Mythlar or anything. It's just like something that, and you still think these are probably very powerful, but you just, again, this is all very vague. You're not exactly sure about any of this. So you think that it's probably dangerous. Here's the thing. You do think that it's either that it had hidden properties and it did this, that there was already something going on within the cabin, and activating something like this did make all hell break loose, or that some kind of sabotage was going on. It's one of those.
Okay.
Maybe the item was already sabotaged, cursed, whatever.
So Grin, you're running
Yeah,
out
I mean,
there.
if it were over here, I could inspect it, but we need to shut it down. And of course, bringing it over here, I don't know if that just brings the problem over here.
If we need the thing, I feel like I should be the one to go get it.
Are you hurt?
No, I feel great.
Okay.
Does anyone feel like they can dispel the magic on this thing to make it safer?
I do not have that capability.
So Macretus was very specifically asking to dispel the ceiling.
Ceiling, okay. Can anyone do that?
He said he basically told you there's no way you can dispel it, but at least buy you some time. If it's powerful enough.
I do not have that spell.
All right, well, I can't.
Okay.
We don't have a scroll of that, do we?
No, we don't,
Any items that do that?
Henri might have it.
Yeah, I got it.
Mhm.
I'm still standing in shock though. I'm still crumpled down on the floor. I still haven't gotten over
Grin,
it.
Grin's gonna reach down and kind of pick her up to her feet.
Yeah.
Like, come on, we got things to do. We'll grieve for him later.
Yeah. Pull yourself together for one moment. We need to
Just
we need to
slap
get
her
ourselves up.
across the face.
No, I'm not gonna slap her. I'm just gonna put a hand on her
You're
back
just
and go,
gonna
look,
knock her
I'm sorry.
unconscious in one slap.
No.
We need you to be at, we need you to do your wizard thing, or else I'm gonna suffer the same fate as Johnny.
Okay,
Oh,
that snaps.
I might
me
have
then.
something to help.
I will give her my best description of like how to do the ceiling, based on what Macretus told me and my thoughts on how things work.
Kino, I apologize. Your race are you full elf, high elf?
I'm full elf, high elf.
That's what I thought. Okay. Awesome. Okay, you are the
Uh-oh.
only one that sees this. However,
Same here.
oh, good. Okay, sorry. So you both see this. This is actually better. So are you high elf though?
Uh, I believe so. I
I
Okay.
thought you were
you're-
half elf.
Oh
I
no,
thought
I
you
am
were
half
half
elf.
elf
I
too.
I am half
Yeah,
elf.
that's what I thought.
I'm half.
That's so
I'm
you
half
would
high elf.
yeah, you would not be able to see this. So you have to be full-blooded high elf. So all right. So Kino, you see in the stars in that room a giant figure of what looks like um so it's vague because it's an outline and it's fuzzy. However, it is an androgynous looking very very large, and this is like it's almost like a projection. It's an androgynous looking very very large muscular man, but it's got the features of a woman as well, meaning it has like you can actually make out the outlines of like entire anatomy, like female anatomy. um except for that you can't see like anything below its waist or anything, but you can tell that it's got both, and it looks terrifying to you. As a matter of fact, you have to make a intelligence saving throw when you're looking at this, and it's laughing at you personally in a way. This is the most horrifying visage you've ever seen, and it's smiling at you. And but make your intelligence saving throw so I can see what your actual reaction is on this.
A 4.
Okay, so Kino literally falls to her knees and starts to sob and cry uncontrollably at this point. No one else can see what's going on there. He starts laughing and laughing and laughing. Kino, you're not going to be able to do anything right now for a good 10 minutes. You are inconsolable. You cannot like see anything, and then you just get like over and over again there's a name that is like over in your mind, and you're sure that this person is literally going to consume your soul. You think he's going to literally eat your soul, and there's something to do with you being an elf. His name is Luxes, and that's the only thing you get from this. And and I can't. When I stress this, you don't take any damage or anything. This is the most traumatic, horrifying event of your entire life. Also, while that's happening, while you start crying, you see a visage of millions upon millions of elves, all crying out in absolute agony as they're getting consumed by this being. You can very tell that this guy, this whatever he is, whatever she is, whatever it is all powerful, omnipotent. It's more powerful. Like you hate to think this, but this puts Tiamat to shame. The power of this being. And
Holy shit.
everything that you know is deeply inside your and it's taunting you, telling you that you're a silly elf, like for worshiping dragons and all these other things, and it's going to come and consume every part of you. You should just give up and let it. And this is a good 10 minutes of the most horrifying things in the entire. Anyway, that's what's happening currently. So you guys see that she breaks down, starts to cry uncontrollably. By the way, Kino has never ever shown this amount of emotion ever. This is very uncharacteristic for all of you. So you will not be able to console her. So as we're going through and role playing this, she's inconsolable for 10 minutes.
At least able to move her
Yeah.
so she's sitting against the wall.
Yep.
Oh my
Yep.
god. Oh my god.
Get her into the workshop, away from this ceiling.
Yep. So you guys go through that. After, I mean, you try everything.
Okay.
You go through. You're trying to be reasonable. You're obviously afraid. You need to know what's going on. All of
One
that.
thing after another with this group.
Yeah. So after the 10 minutes, Kino, you can start to explain to them what happened, but you're still shaky about it.
This
Who,
is not the time for us to be breaking down.
no, it's not. It's not Johnny. Who is Luxes?
What did you say?
I saw. I don't know.
Have I ever heard of that?
A god? A goddess?
You've never heard of the name. I mean, you certainly can make a religion check or a contract or whatever, and see what happens. But
Could Aya as well?
sure, of course.
Not so much.
Not
Ice
so
is a
much.
14.
Not so much.
No.
You would need to crit this. No one knows.
one's
that,
even
yeah,
in the ballpark.
not. Nope. I'm not even gonna say what I got.
Oh,
Ooh.
You need to crit it anyway, so and you need to get a natural 20 no matter what your modifier is. You have a 5% chance. So okay, yep. You just wouldn't know.
Yeah, I'll explain everything minus the wavering view on Tiamat, but I'll explain what I saw. Not so much how I felt, but what I saw.
what if a history check would have happened?
And no one else saw that.
Just you.
What the fuck?
No,
I'll sort of wipe my eyes and stand up.
I mean, I don't want to see Grit die trying to bring that thing back here, but we kind of need it. And
Yeah.
We can at least give him an edge.
You should know by now that I can't die.
Well,
okay,
Well, then
Don't
you'll be
believe
happy to
that,
just go
but-
by yourself then.
would you be able to maybe grab some of Johnny's stuff? Like just scoop it up as you're running by?
I'll do what I can.
Or
It is-
kick it over? Just kick it over.
Yep.
You can get a
Soccer
little bit
ball.
of him too.
I mean, I don't
You can
really
at
need.
least give him a proper burial.
There seems to be a good sized chunk of him over on that door frame.
Ugh.
Yep.
I thought he
So-
like congealed back.
He did.
Oh,
He
okay,
did.
sorry.
He did. He congealed back. He congealed back and then was recalled.
So it's not actually a horror movie cabin anymore.
Right.
Yet.
There's always time. So
All right.
the plan is to
So-
have Grin run across the room and I try to dispel the ceiling, even though I have a terrible history of dispel magic.
You'll have, might have a better chance with what I can do.
And what was the stuff, Vin, that you cast? We got like advantage on stuff and temporary HP.
Yes. Advantage on wisdom saving.
What was the inspiration?
Okay. Well, give me a second to explain it, and I'll get to you. It's everyone gets 5 temporary HP, advantage on wisdom saving throws. It's gotta be close to 10 minutes by now since I cast Bardic Inspiration on Abel. So that was just probably wasted.
Well, just me crying was 10 minutes.
Yeah, it was. Yep.
Luckily, crying is a free action.
So yeah, that's just the motivational speech lasts for an hour. So have fun.
Crying is a free action is the name of the notes this week.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish I had more to do, but unfortunately, none of my spells would really help.
Can we just get out of here?
Well,
Not yet.
No.
Like, do what we need to do to get out of here. Like, fix the shit. Let's go.
Yeah, I'd like to.
well, yeah, but step one to that is retrieving the item to fix it.
Yep.
All right, big boy, go get it.
All right. Right before you make the dash, as you get to that area, make an intelligence saving throw.
I was going to cast Bless on him the minute we agreed.
You can. You can.
Me make an intelligence saving throw?
Yeah, so
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Tom, Abel, and Henri are blessed.
What does the blessing do again? Is it a D4?
Gives you a D4 to saves.
Gotcha.
Ooh.
Look at you. Look at the big brain on the
Whoa,
brain.
smart boy.
Big
I got a
brain.
20 total.
Great.
That's the biggest smooth
So-
brain I've ever seen.
So,
So you see, so right before you go to dash, this is not going to stop you from dashing, but you see a giant red-skinned man covered in blood and gore. He looks humanoid, covered in like blood and gore. You can't see his face because he's got this giant bronze helmet that looks like it's a skull with fangs, and it looks like there's also like razors that have been attached to the outside of this, and he is slaughtering a whole room full of people, cutting off their heads, skinning their skulls, and putting them up into a tower, and laughing. And you actually feel angry. You feel enraged. You feel angry. You actually have a tingling in you of wanting to fucking kill something, like really bad. But this is not going to stop you from running. But you do see this. You see this very, very plainly. So if you want to stop, it's up to your character, but that's what you see currently on the ceiling. He does look at you as you get into thing, and he points to you. And as he points to you, he takes this very large brass sword. It's a great sword that he holds in one hand, and for a bronze brass greatsword, it's incredibly ornate because it's got all of these symbols that you've never recognized on it. And he basically points to you with the sword. You're a little unnerved by that, but
Yeah, I'm trying to. I'm trying to think of how Grin would actually react to that.
you're the only one that can see it, Gren.
I mean it dominates his attention for the moment, and he just kind of pauses, staring at it, just like frozen in rage.
Okay, he telepathically goes to you and says, "Kill these puny, worthless people. Cut off their heads. Build a pile. Worship me." And he said, and you get his name, but it's over and over in your head. It's very similar to Yukino. His name is Tarn, Tarn.
But I don't feel compelled to listen to
No,
him.
No. You don't have to do anything. Nope.
Grin just starts shouting at the ceiling like, "Fuck you! No, go fuck yourself!"
Yeah, and you guys see all this. Obviously, you cannot see what he's talking to. But yeah.
But more in an angry, ragey voice than I can do.
He laughs, and he's very happy with you. He said, "That's right. Come on!" And he keeps like egging you on. Yeah.
Grin throws a javelin at the ceiling.
Yeah. It does. So Abel, this is the very
The
first
fuck
time.
is he doing?
This is the very first time that anyone's tried to interact with the ceiling. The javelin, as he throws it at the ceiling, you lose your javelin, by the way. It does go into, like, it goes all the way up over the night sky and vanishes.
Oh.
It's gone. It does not hit the ceiling.
You're gonna
There is no
accidentally
ceiling.
hit a owlbear on the descent.
Did it look like it missed this person?
Oh, you didn't even come close. He's
Oh.
I mean, you thought that you could get to him. I mean, he's not that far up, but it didn't even come close to him. Yeah. By the way, he's giant. He's like 20 feet. He looks like he's like a 20 feet humanoid male.
But okay, so he's wearing a helmet, so I can't tell if he's actually a human.
Yeah, that's all he's wearing, by the way. He's naked, but in the sense just like the other god was, but in the sense that he's like hazy. You can't see everything. But he is naked, yeah.
Grin's gonna take your helmet off, coward. Show your face.
Yeah.
Got
As Grin says this, by the way, Grin, he vanishes now, and it goes all the way back to the sky and how it was.
What do we see from our perspective? Is he just
Nothing.
yelling at an empty room?
Oh yeah. He's going crazy for no reason. He looks like he lost it.
Kino, your friends are.
Kino, you've obviously put two and two together. You're pretty confident that he saw something like you did.
I'm just gonna yell out, "Fucking run! Get the thing!"
Grin blinks like he forgot what he was doing. Like,
Yep.
Oh.
Okay, go for it, and then Henri, make your dispel.
Ah, shit.
I'm just
Remember, you gotta bless.
more and more impressed at every venture.
Dispel's not a. Did you say only saving throws or just ability checks as well?
Attacks and saving throws.
It's not an attack though.
I can't guide you, so make it count.
Yeah, that is correct. I just double checked. You cannot guide her on dispel.
Do I think it would be better to start running after the dispel or before?
You don't. To be honest, you don't know, Grin. It's up to you.
Okay,
What do you want
fair
to do?
enough.
Oh, God.
He'll wait until after the dispel.
Okay,
Why?
Oh shit!
it's all right, Henri.
I.
You gotta
got?
put-
Why is that the spell I'm consistently bad at?
Do you have a portent?
It's cool.
No. I used
Oh,
the.
shit.
I know I used the second. I think I actually only had a.
All right.
Fuck! I need to keep better track. Nope. I
So
used
you- Yep. So you have a speed of 40, so you're double moving at 80.
Yeah.
All right.
Knowing that I failed the first time, I'm gonna try casting it again. I'm gonna use my other level 3 slot. I did burn all my luckies though, so I only get the one shot.
Okay. All right. So you get to the body, Grin. What do you want to do? This is part of your. This is part of your first move. You have
Grab
like
the thing.
20 You're gonna grab it.
Yep.
Okay. All right. All right. So Grin grabs the object. He runs back.
On the way back, he is going to try and grab any of Johnny's things that are on the ground.
Okay, that's fine. As you get to Johnny's things, all right. So 3, 2, 1. All right, Grin. Shit's about to get really bad for you. All right. So as Grin was doing that, as he was holding the item does light up, extensively, and it goes through and it releases a crazy burst of magical energy. It's all radiant.
Is it a spell?
Yes.
Can I
It's one.
counterspell it?
It's not a spell. It's a magic item. So no, you can't counter a magic item. So you take 67 points of radiant damage, straight radiant damage, but then you also take an additional 20 points of searing heat damage. So you take 87 points of damage, Gren. How many hit
Okay.
points do you have?
Well, I
Is he
had
gonna save it?
75, but I'm going to use my relentless endurance
Okay.
and just go down to 1.
Do you drop the item? It's up to you.
No, they need it. My party
Okay.
needs it.
All right, Gren, you're a hero, Gren. All right, so all right, Gren does not drop the item. It's still like radiant going through, but it does go and take this huge burst of energy. All right, so as you do that, Gren, you do get to move. Let's see, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. All right, so your first move. So go ahead and make your dexterity saving throw with advantage.
And you add a D4 to it.
Yep.
Oh, there you go.
24.
Must
All
be
right.
nice to make
So
those rolls.
yeah. So Gren, you get to move 40 more feet, so you get to here. What do you want to do here? It's starting to light up again. Your nuclear
He's
bomb.
gonna
Yep.
drop it as soon as he passes like the threshold of that danger room.
Okay.
Just fully like drop it to the ground.
All right. You guys see
His
that
whole body
Gren-
like smoking.
So exactly. So you see that Grin is just a scorched like thing of like blister and muscle. He should be dead.
Guys, I got it.
His hair is seared off. That's pretty fucking amazing. As a matter of
Not
fact,
my new beard.
this was not built for orcs. That was pretty fucking awesome. Like, yeah. So cool.
All right,
cool
I'll
move,
cast Cure Wounds at level 2 on Grin.
Outstanding.
Is my beard okay, guys? I just got it.
Yeah, you guys just realized that Grin not only risked his life, but took an amazing amount of radiation, nuclear energy, whatever you want to call it, to save everyone.
Hey, you're a Fallout character now.
Let's get to work.
Oh, Vin, Kino's
points
gonna
of healing.
spin around. Kino's gonna spin around to you and in Elvish say, "Don't fucking talk about my friends like that," and she's gonna hug Grin.
Ow! It's like a bad sunburn.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, now
Don't
This
know
is
what
like
you're talking about.
so Abel, this is what you've now like seeing the device up close. You start to put two and two together, and you remember there were blueprints somewhere, regarding
grab-
like, regarding this device, and I imagine you say something, yeah.
Yeah, we would have shown it to him by now.
Okay.
Bring it over to the working table. I can take out the blueprints and try to start, piecing things
Yep.
together.
Okay, so this is what you need to do. After looking at the blueprints and going through it, you get the first try. You get the first like try at this. You are gonna have to unfortunately make an Arcana check to do everything you need to do to fix this. But it is flawed. It's not sabotage or whatever. It's just simply flawed. It needs 4 rings. The runes for these rings are on the blueprint itself. They're runes that you don't understand, but fortunately, Macretus had already finished the backup safety devices. Here's what's happening. The device is going off prematurely because all of the magical energy stored within it that's going to essentially allow the weather to change for an hour a day is stored right now improperly in a one burst. That's literally what's Seared Grin. It's all that magical that's supposed to be dispersed around this entire radius in Icewind Dale, which is miles and miles going through. It got concentrated and gone through. Now, because it's broken, it didn't disintegrate them right away. That's the only reason that it didn't. It's the second ring is also cracked. So not only do you have to fix the second cracked ring, and you think about this too, you're like, how the hell did Macretus allow this to get cracked? Like, what the hell? Like, that would be like, you shouldn't be touching it like it's cracked. That's why it's all weird or whatever. So there's that. But then you're also going to have to fashion 2 more of these rings. It's going to take you 3 hours, but you can do it for sure.
I'm gonna take out some of my little wind-up light creatures and set them out on the table, and then take the Modron out and say, "Hey, 7472, look at this thing. It's great, but it's broken. You want to help me fix it?"
So he looks at you. He looks at you confused, and he goes through, but then he starts to like war and click or whatever, and you think you know what's happening, and you bring him off the table and go through everything, and sure enough, he transforms into your workshop.
Ooh. Yeah, so you see this tiny little automaton just open up into this weird, intricate workshop. Open blossoms out into it with all these levers and
it's that's exactly right. It's so what it is it's 7 different concentric circles, and the Modron only had so much metal as this tiny thing, this 2 feet thing. Gauge, your character would see this. So what ends up happening is as it starts to unfold and transform, it starts to get thinner and thinner, and all these devices are a bit spindly or whatever, but they're still intact and structurally sound so that Abel can work on things. You also see several different of these little hands come out that you imagined were not only the Modron's hands, but also hands that formed inside its body. And it has little tools that Abel can use to fix things. It also provides light on some of the expenditures, like there's like these glowing rods that he can use, and it's very, very impressive. It's one of the most intricate, detailed clockwork things you've ever seen in your entire life, obviously. Anyway, so Abel starts to work on that as he goes through. Abel, it is going to take you 3 hours or so. What was your Arcana check, by the way?
Well, it's advantage with him, right?
Yeah, advantage with him. Yep.
Well, your motivational speech buffs would all be gone if it's gonna be 3 hours. So
I'll be guiding him through it.
I'll be checking out.
Okay.
I'm saying all. The point I'm trying to make is all your temporary HP is gone.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. That's 26 plus a D4.
Yeah, no, you got it though. So so even though it's supposed to take you 3 hours, you're going to be able to do this in an hour. So with the Modron, with the device, with everything that's going on, yeah. So you're going to be able to do expert work in an hour or so. So you guys just have to spend another hour within this cabin, and he's going to be able to fix this device.
All right.
Once you're fixed to it, it is a magical device that needs to be attuned to, and you're going to need to activate it.
Okay.
You can't at that point. You can also identify it too, but it is a magical item.
I will identify it within that. Let me check the attunement. I might need a slot. Yeah, I'll take my bracer off.
Okay.
And then when it comes time, I'll attune to it.
So once Abel finishes this, so we'll go ahead and let the hour pass. Once Abel finishes this, the minute that he finishes it, first a couple very important things happen. Number one, as he does this, Macaritas and Alicia, your character, suddenly materialize as actual people in front of you. So Elise, you're in this bedroom here, but your character does materialize. I think I actually have Kobold. Look at that. I do have a Kobold. Okay. So your character materializes here as a full Kobold. You do have gear on you and everything else, just like when you died. And Macretus also comes back as this happens. So before you identify this or anything, so what you guys see is that slowly but surely light starts to pinpoint around like little tiny like pins of that form into like a kobold like person, and then this this elven like person, this very tall elven male like person, and going through that they start to form again. The ceiling does dissipate. There's no longer any kind of like celestial like things going on or whatever. And Mac Rita's sighs. He says, and he like goes to the floor, and he's like, "Oh," he said, "that was unbearably bad." He said, I can't even begin to understand or know what actually happened, but thank you so much for this." And he said, "You finished my device?" He walks over to the Summer Star. He said,
Hey,
I
where's your
can't.
spell book?
He said, my spell book? And he snaps.
I let
Yeah,
go and critique him on every like minor little thing he did wrong putting this thing together and how
Yeah.
it's misattuned.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and he's taken aback. He's taken aback by this, but he does snap his hands, and you see what looks like a very tiny. It looks like a double-sided pyramid that starts floating above him, and he means, "You mean that?"
your
He said.
device sucks.
He said you. He said you weren't thinking of like. He said, "Why did you want to know about my spellbook?" And he's looking at you very curiously. He does an insight check on you, by the way, and he gets. Yeah,
I was
he gets a 24 if you want to try to oppose him.
I was just gonna say I was just looking for my friend here, and I point to Henri.
Yeah, but what was what was the reason why? Since he's doing the insight check, he basically is doing magic, but it's nothing that you would recognize. But what is the reason why you were asking?
I was just trying to help my friend get new spells. I thought you were
Yeah,
dead.
that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Okay, so he looks at you and he says, he says, "Nice try." He says, "Wait." He said, my flawed design." He looks at you. You can already tell this guy's a little bit arrogant. Abel. He said, "I have never seen anything like this though." And he starts like touching your device and like putting his hands all over it. Abel. He's like,
Hey,
"What is this?" He says, "Oh."
you messed this up. You're not messing mine up.
He said, "All right." He said, all right." He said, "Fair enough." He said, "You did fix my device for me." He said, "I think we were dead." And he goes over and looks at the kobold, and he says, he says, so he looks at the kobold and he says, "You okay, little person?"
Well, more or less just confused since, just a second ago I was incorporeal but existent, and now I'm actually alive, I think. And she pokes herself on her skills just to make sure, like, she can actually feel things.
Now, Macretus goes back and he says this, and he asks you if you remember anything from before you died. He does not, and you don't either right now. This effect will last for a couple days. So you have temporary amnesia. He does as well. He actually explains to the group, by the way. He does explain all of this. He can't actually remember how he died and the circumstances leading up to it, but he is able to remember like other things about his life. Like he asks how Copper's doing. We'll go through that first. He says, "So my assistant Copper, I assume he led you here."
Yeah, he misses you. You should go and apologize for not talking to him for a few weeks. He missed you terribly.
He said, "I will." And he said, "Again, thank you so much." He says, "You have no idea what you've done too. That device, the Summer Star, the device that I made. This is going to hopefully end the Frost Maiden's hold over this entire area in Icewind Dale." He said, I have some doubts about the overall potency of it, but he said, I'm pretty sure that I made this pretty well." And he actually picks it up, Abel. He takes it right from you. He picks it, Summer Star, up. Unless you want to do anything, he's taking it.
Well,
So
I'm not going to stop him if he's going to pick it up. But when he says he built it really well, I tell him no.
he says, "Oh, right, 4 rings." He said, "I knew it, 4 rings." He said, and then he looks at you and he goes through it and he says, and he looks at it. He's like, "I knew it, I knew it, I knew it, I knew it." He says, this is only going to last an hour." He said, "We're going to be lucky if this lasts an hour." He said, "I can stop winter, but I can stop it probably for an hour once I attune to this." He said, "However," he said, since technically you did fix it," and he hands it to you, Abel. He said, "If you want to do the honors, by all means you can." He said, "You can identify it, but I can tell you how it works. It's up to you."
Hold on a second.
Yeah, I'll identify it. As far
Oh,
as like, if it only works an hour, though, I mean,
Yeah. So this
don't
is
you
what
want
so
your
this is what
moment?
it is. So it is able to cast a control weather spell for 1 hour, but it can only bring within this climate, it can only bring the outside temperature up to 63 degrees. But that is what it's set to right now. So the control weather spell is custom to set the entire area to 63 degrees, which is way, way, way warmer than it is right now. It will set it to an hour that you choose. And what it does is the minute that you activate it, the way that you activate it is you take all its concentric circles and you fold them all up north, and then you basically run your hands all the way down to the rocky like thing and on it, and then you press that as hard as you can. Eventually, it'll give way. It activates. You let it go, and it will wherever you're at, it will go up to 100 feet above you. Activate. It will do the control weather spell, but in this climate, it can only bring it to 63 degrees, but it is set. It has a hard setting to set it to as hot as it can possibly be. So since you've identified it, you also know that if you were to take this item and set it out somewhere else outside of Icewind Dale, it would get to 97 degrees. It would become like a bright summer for an hour anywhere you wanted it to. Once you set it though, once you set this item, it's permanent. It's going to last forever. It's going to go 100 feet in the air. It's going to turn itself invisible, and it does have some defenses. That's all it can do.
Okay, it works one time ever for an hour.
Once you set it, it's going to stay there forever. You will not be able to take this down, remove it, or whatever. The problem is that he does not know how the device was created originally because it's a Netherese artifact. So that's as good as it can be. Even you working on this thing, going through it, you're completely mystified. You would not be able to modify this either, because it's a Netherese artifact. So.
What I'm asking is, does it set things fixed to 63 or just for 1 hour of time?
1 hour of time is going to set the entire climate, the holding of Icewind Dale to 63 degrees. You get to pick the hour though. If you attune to it, and if you're going to attune to this, and by the way, once you attune to it and activate it, you can deattune to the item. It'll still
Right.
work. It's still going to be permanent. But once you attune to this and
Does
activate
the
it,
item,
that means you get to pick the hour. Otherwise, he's going to pick the hour.
does the item consume itself, or can it be used again another time, or reset, or recharged? Or
So it doesn't consume itself, but what it does is when you take this outside, it's going to go up 100 feet north of where you are, above you. Sorry, not north. Above you from where you are, it's going to go 100 feet in the air, turn itself invisible, and stay there until the end of time. Until you can figure out a way to create Netherese artifacts and modify them. But for now, it'll be the end of time. To you, it could be the end of time. So that's where it's going to be. So it's a one-time kind of thing. However, if you attune to it, you get to decide what time of day this happens and all of that stuff. Otherwise, he's going to do it.
I mean, I've certainly earned the honor to do that, but I don't really know when we would do that. And I look at the rest of the group.
How about we use it to walk home? Just a thought. Can throw that one out there.
Why would we walk home?
Well, what he's saying is that if it's good climate for an hour, you're not going to have blizzards or anything else. It'll stop auroras, whatever's happening. It'll stop that for an hour, no matter what. And you can choose it anytime you want to. This obviously has a huge impact to all the people in Icewind Dale.
And we can
obviously.
we can get out of here, and then
Wouldn't
figure it out. Preferably in a tavern.
We've used it then if we used it for the hour to get back.
Well, and by the way, it's always going to be the same hour every day. That's the thing. It's always so. If you set this for 6 o'clock, for 1 hour every day, there will be a respite from this weather. That's why I'm saying this will obviously impact every citizen of Icewind Dale. Sorry. Yes, every day for 1 hour, it will always do this. Every day for an hour, it's always going to do this. So you're going to make a dramatic change to everyone's life in Icewind Dale right now.
Outstanding. We've already measurable good. Now let's fuck out of here.
I also still have a few more questions for you.
He says,
For
of course.
me?
You said, no, I assume you mean me.
Oh, I actually meant Vin. But
Oh,
Okay,
I'm sorry.
can we do
no,
this?
ask Vin then. Yep.
Can we do this somewhere a little bit more safe? Because since being here, I've seen 2 ghosts and someone die.
I want to talk
mean-
to Macvitas.
Yeah, we can talk to Mercurius too.
All right.
Oh, I'll reach into my pack and I'll pull out the rations, the tinderbox, and the firewood for him that Copper gave us. These are for
Yeah.
you.
He said, "Thank you." He said, he looks at you, by the way, and he says, "Oh, I'm so sorry." He said, I knew this was going to get out sooner or later." And he looks at you, Gren, and he said, "You know too." He said, I can see it in you." He said, "This." He said, "You saw the Chaos Gods."
You got some asshole on your ceiling.
Yeah. Yeah, what
He's,
was that?
Sorry, I'm silly tonight.
he says, to be honest, that was the first thing that I was going to be doing after this device is activated. He said, "I do need to get back um, to my friends, and we need to start investigating things." He said, "I don't know if I should burden you with any of this, to be honest, but," he said, "I can tell that you saw them."
Is that like
Yeah.
is that
He
bad?
makes he makes a gesture with his hands. Um, you could try to make an Arcana check. Anyone can, because he's not hiding this. But Kino, as he does this, his hands light up very slightly, like a pink glowing like thing, and as they do,
No.
he is casting detect thoughts, and he's doing it in a way that you know that he's casting detect thoughts. And he said, "Please, please open your mind. Let me see what you saw, please."
I'll just tell you. You don't need to look in my mind.
He said, "No, you don't understand. I actually do."
He can't do that within 30 feet. Anyone within 30 feet of me is.
Yeah.
Right, with your ring, with your thing of
Yep.
non-detection.
No one.
Yeah,
No one.
so in this case, in this case, as you see this and go through this, he casts. He obviously doesn't know this, by the way. So he casts and goes through this, and he says, "Please." Now the spell is not going to go off until you consent. You know, once the spell goes off, he'll resolve whatever happens. But
I do not consent.
all right. So he says that's a mistake. He said, "But all right." And he lets the spell go.
I'll just tell you the name of the god that I heard.
He said, "Yes, but I need to know exactly what they look like."
I mean, you can look in my head.
He
Just
says,
don't get lost in
"Good."
there.
So he goes to cast his detect thoughts, and he can tell his spell did not go off, and you can tell at first he thinks he miscast it. He's like, "Did I lose my ability to spell?" And he does it again, and he says, and you can tell that now he's tired. Like it was a hard to cast it again too. And then he looks around. He casts detect magic. You can tell, you always know what that is. He's looking through everything. It's going to take him a while to figure this out, though. He's just looking around the room right now.
What's up?
He doesn't notice you yet. He said, "Can someone try to detect? Can someone cast detect thoughts here?" He says,
Maybe you
"You know
broke
the
it.
spell."
There's just
He
no
looks at
thoughts
No.
Honore.
going
He's
on.
like, "You know."
Head
Yeah.
empty.
Yeah.
You sure can't? Okay.
He said, "I'm gonna have to." He said he goes through it. He's gonna try to make an Arcana check himself to see if he knows what's going on.
I've said
I-
several-
All right. So not only does he know
I-
what's going on, so he puts two and two together. I rolled a natural 20. Not only does he put
I-
two and two together, but he realizes now, he's like, "Oh."
So I've
like-
actually said several times something, but I just keep getting speaking at the same time someone else does.
Sorry. Go ahead. Say what you wanted to say.
I said earlier that he held up his ring and pointed to it, and he said, "What's up?" And he said and you're like, he just
Okay,
doesn't
all right,
notice
that's
you.
fine. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Okay. So you do very clearly point to the ring then. All right. He says. So he actually. So as he points to the ring, he motions for everyone to get away from him. He points to you, and he says, "Who are you people?"
If you
We're the
want
people
that,
that
if you,
just saved you.
if you
He
want
said,
that
"I."
mind,
He said, "I realize that." He said, "But I also know what that is, and only the worst of the worst kind of criminals have these. Who are you?"
show
Why-
enough.
We're the best of the best.
I mean, we just met this guy.
Yeah, so he doesn't
Technically
know that we're
followed us
not.
here.
Yeah. He says no. He says listen. He says I've run into groups that have had an item like that before. It's usually serial killers. He said, listen, I'm happy that you helped me. I can tell that you're capable. I can clearly tell, and he looks over at Abel, that you're capable. He said, you might be able to kill me, but I'm telling you right now, if you're serial killers, I can at least get a couple spells off before I teleport and have the Arcane Brotherhood or any other organization that I need to on top of you at any moment. He said it's in your best interest right now to tell me who you are.
Well, we're not serial killers, so relax.
Definitely not a serial killer.
How did you come in contact with a ring of magical non-detection?
Grin turns to Vin, and
I also turned
Well.
to Vin. We actually just met him, so we don't know. He's the only serial killer.
Yeah,
He said, he said I
He's
see.
not a serial
swing.
killer. He hasn't
Oh.
serial killed any of us.
He said, well, let me enlighten you then. He said, the reason why these rings exist is so people cannot be scryed. The only way, this is a little known secret, but I'll leave it to all of you so you can realize this. Why do you think there are no mages or anyone for that matter that runs around and slaughters endless numbers of people? The reason why is because we do not allow those rings to exist, because anytime someone gets out of hand, one of myself, my order, my brothers, anyone else that's powerful enough will find them or you and kill you for doing horrible, horrible things. And we have a pact between all of us that states that none of us will ever, ever, ever make these rings. Only the worst of the worst of the worst human beings have these. And then he looks at you. He's like, if you're telling me the truth, you said, then I'm not going to outwardly like give you up, but seriously, you need to either destroy that ring or you need to have some serious explaining to do immediately.
Are you part of the Arcane Brotherhood?
He said, I'm not. He said, but I do know of them very, very well. I've worked with them in the past.
I think there's a little bit of overreaction going on here. There are other ways to.
Kind of a
prevent
Nancy, aren't you?
Vin,
So
explain yourself.
he looks at you, Honor. He says, what order are you from?
That's gonna be a no. I don't have an order.
Or orderless?
Grin
He said,
kind of
I assure you. He says, I assure you, ma'am, this is not an overreaction.
shakily gets to his feet and equips his glaive, and he's
Okay.
full on staring at Vin now.
Yeah.
He says, "All right, now explain it.
Explain what?
Brother?
Why do you have the ring?
Brother?
This guy says only criminals and serial killers have it, and that doesn't look good for you because we don't know anything about you."
Yeah. Maybe we should finish those questions now.
We may not need to.
Huh?
And how come you
I'd love to
were
talk if I had the opportunity.
Do it
All right.
now.
talk?
The thing is, every time I answer a question, 3 more rise up to it. So I'm getting the sense that no matter how much information I provide, it's not going to supplant the morbid curiosity that's befallen you. I mean, one of your party just died, and the attention is on this.
Yes.
Yes.
We kind of take things as they come to us.
We're not worried
and
about
you
the
and you
dead.
brush past them just as quickly.
Talk, or we let him do what he needs to do.
If you want him to scan your minds, you go on ahead, and I'll step away from them so that they can get their detect thoughts done.
I stepped
He said,
towards them.
he says it doesn't matter. He said, look, you have a couple different options here. Option number 1, you say something reasonable to me. Number 2, I teleport immediately, and I will give you a head start since you did finish my device for me. But I am going to unfortunately have to report this. We can't have people walking around with rings of magical non-detection, or you simply tell me why you need it or why you have it, and you're gonna have to let me use detect thoughts or something. You're gonna have to give me some kind of reason to let you out with that ring. Like it's just that's the way it is. You said otherwise, I just have to assume the worst.
All right. First off, are you sure you want to teleport right now?
Yeah, might be a bad idea.
He looks at you, Abel, and he says, "What do you mean? Why?"
Do the math.
Oh, let him go.
I want to let him know.
Yeah, no.
Right.
Do you tell him everything that you went through or whatever?
Yeah, I explained to him. Yeah.
Okay. He says, and your name again? He looks at you.
Mabel.
He said, it depends. He said, now that the summer star is activated, now that the ceiling has stopped doing what it's doing, I imagine we're safe.
dude,
There's only one. It did. There's only one
Okay.
way to know for certain. He said there is only one way to know for certain. I do appreciate that you reminded me of it. But he said I'd take my chances on teleport once I was able to figure it out. But he said also, look, it's really simple. Just tell me how you got the ring. Who'd you buy it from? How are they getting created?
No, I didn't buy it from anyone. But it's really none of your business, is it?
I think it's
Grant
exactly his
advances
business.
on Vin.
No, it's absolutely not his business.
So does Kino.
You
Guys,
Take
what?
the ring
guys,
off.
guys, calm down. Calm
Take
down.
the ring off,
Calm down.
or you're gonna lose the finger it's on.
Everybody
You just
step
wanna talk.
back.
So we're actually doing this. Okay.
We cannot have the Brotherhood knowing where we are, or this asshole
said-
telling them anything about us.
He said
Well,
Yeah,
if you would give me 5 seconds of interrupted silence to speak, Grin, I would tell you. So
Do it
I'm
now.
letting myself get tackled. I keep trying and I get talked. Let me speak. Get
No
off
one's
me.
interrupting.
This is all in character. He's saying.
Yeah, no, we know. Yep. No, but I'm pausing to let you talk.
Okay.
Yep.
He'll get up and dust it. You guys are just not very well emotionally put together. Jesus Christ. All right. So the big panic is about this ring that does absolutely nothing to affect you, right?
Yes.
There's no detriment to you, if anything, a boon. Why are you so concerned about this?
Are you asking that to them
Yes.
or Macaritas?
Them.
Them? Okay.
All I know is this guy said either he's gonna read your mind or he's gonna report us to the Brotherhood.
Why is
So
that
he's
such
going
a
to
big deal?
So he's going to read your mind.
He can't read my mind. That's the thing.
Macaritas interjects and he says, look, it's really, really simple. The only people who have rings of magical non-detection are criminals, and the reason why they have them is so they can't be scryed. The Arcane Brotherhood is only one organization that can go through and find you. However, they are particularly good at this, and it's probably one of the first organizations that I would have to report you to anyway.
You're 2 for 2 on your bullshit assumptions there, but unfortunately for you, the third came a little bit short.
Yep.
Why do you have the ring?
By the way, are you attempting to like intimidate him? Is that what you're hoping,
No.
or is it? Are you
No,
okay? All
he's
right.
just
I just
talking.
want to make sure. Okay, cool. All right. Yep.
Because I don't want to be scryed. I don't want people to know my thoughts. You don't have much in this world, but you always have your mind. But with some of these fucking spellcasters, you don't even have that around them.
And he says exactly, but this is the only way that order is done. If we didn't have these rings, what do you think would happen the first time that someone found a magic item that would go? Like, could you imagine the amount of detriment that would already be happening all across Faerun if these rings existed? We would never, ever, ever be able to hunt people down and take care of things that needed to be. He said, "Do you even have any idea what happened in Waterdeep 7 years ago? Probably not." And by the way, you can make a history check on what he's talking about 7 years ago, because there was a significant thing that happened.
I was definitely there.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it was secret, but go ahead and make a history check to see if you knew about this.
14.
Yeah. So you heard rumors about. So essentially, it was rumored that a son of one of the lords of Waterdeep was actually literally killing prostitutes and had a ring of magical non-detection because he was using a very specific magic item. He was sacrificing them to. He was basically trying to bring back the god of murder, but he was an idiot and did some really bullshit like cultist like thing going through it. But how he got away with it for so long, two reasons. Number one, he did end up being the son of one of the not the open lord, but a closed lord of Waterdeep. But he also had a ring of magical non-detection.
And that he was trying to bring back Cyric.
He was actually trying to bring back Ball, but he didn't know what he was doing. Like the old god of murder, but he didn't. He was an idiot. So
Even worse.
Yeah. But anyway, long story short, he was eventually found. He was killed. You're pretty sure because he disappeared. Arcane Brotherhood actually took care of him. That's the rumor. And they got the ring back.
So back in character, he goes, yeah, so some prick makes a few murders having one of these, and everyone jumps down my throat for it.
We just want to know
Guilty.
why.
What? I've already said it twice.
Okay.
Is the third time the charm?
Now, here's the other thing that everyone knows. Putting two and two together outside of this, from a meta perspective, this ring will also not allow you to be scribed via the Arcane Brotherhood. Unfortunately, from a meta term, now this wizard knows about it, but everyone also has now put this together. In the 30-foot radius, you are not scribable. So in a 30-foot bubble, no one can scry anyone with a ring like this. You're invisible to wizards, essentially. So that's why they're so powerful and so taboo and... Yeah.
So here's the thing, then. If the only thing standing between keeping my party safe and you wearing that ring is your unwillingness to have your mind read, that's not good enough for me.
Explain your logic to me.
I care more about them than you. That's my logic.
Where's the danger? Point it out to me.
The Arcane
Make me
Brotherhood.
understand.
He points at Macretus. There's the danger.
Right. Right. And Grin, you would understand what he's saying too, because obviously this character has no idea that you guys have any history with the Arcane Brotherhood.
Either, and literally no one is explaining shit to me. I'm sorry.
Right.
Like,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But Grin,
American-
you do know this from a matter of fact, because I think sometimes people just assume that, but obviously he doesn't know anything about you and the Arcane Brotherhood. So.
Grin doesn't necessarily want to tell the Macretus
obviously.
and the stranger why the Arcane Brotherhood is bad news for them.
Obviously, that's not why I'm saying it. What I'm saying is that just in case anyone's confused, that is the meta of all that.
Yeah,
but anyway,
I understand.
Go ahead.
No, me, Gage knows what's going on, but I mean, Vincatio doesn't, and no one is explaining anything to him, so it just feels like he's getting attacked needlessly.
No, I want to so bad.
Like he literally just got jumped on for no.
Those were the questions.
As you can tell, no reason.
Yeah, I understand.
Well, you also know, so from a meta perspective as well, Gage, you also know that, I mean, you knew this going into it. You knew this item was highly, highly, highly illegal. So, and you knew that. Your character knew that. He was explained that when he got the ring and all that stuff. So, obviously, you knew that as well. You're just emboldened to show it to him. So, but yeah.
Chino is going to check her pockets real quick and go, excuse me, I think I dropped, I think I left a little one of here in the workshop. And she's going to walk away for a second and just goes, excuse me, continue. And she'll point back to Grin and Vin and Macretus and just go, excuse me. Yep. She'll walk away. And
by the way, Elise, you're seeing all this too. You're right there with everything.
Yep. My character just Elda just doesn't really know what's going on, as she doesn't really remember anything, and
of course
she thought she heard something about the weather being awful, so it's like going outside's probably not a good idea. They explain her clothing, but also, I mean, what is she gonna do? So she's just sitting in the corner, taking this all in, snacking on a ration.
Yeah, he does turn around, by the way, and he says, he looks at you, Elise, and he said, by the way, he said, I vaguely remember, he said, not really, he said, it's like he's trying to remember piece of your past and why you're in the cabin, and he says, do you remember why you were in the cabin?
I'm gonna be honest. Yep. Anyone in this room probably knows as good a reason as I do at this point.
So here's what you're able to do. First and foremost, at this point, you have to lie brilliantly to this guy, or tell him the truth in a way that makes him okay with the fact that you have this ring. which is going to be very, very hard. Number one.
I
Or
am also casting once I get out of view of
Yep.
everyone. Once I go into the workshop, does
Yep.
the ring allow me to message Vin?
the ring does allow you to message Vin. It only stops. It literally only stops scrying. So you can message him, but it depends on how you're doing it. Like, what are you trying to? Are you sending him ascending?
I'm casting message and I'm messaging him.
Oh yeah, no, you can.
have
You
to
just
be
would never
inside.
know his whereabouts or anything else. But yes, you absolutely can message him. Yep.
I am turning a corner and pressing up against one of the bookcases away from the wizard, and I'm just saying, "Look, we don't want to hurt you, and frankly, I trust you a little bit more than this wizard, but we are wanted by the Arcane Brotherhood. Play along, and you will get out of here, and we will get out of here. Just trust us. I'm sorry."
Yeah. So, so anyway, the wizard goes back and he says, seriously, he says, so are we? There's a couple things. You can hand the ring over, and I'll confiscate it. He said, or you're just gonna have to be reasonable. You're gonna have to be reasonable because right now it's looking bad for you. And he looks at you specifically, Ben. He's like, I mean, he's like, the other thing that you could do is, he does pull out a piece of paper, and he said, I can make you sign this contract, but you're not gonna like that either. And the contract is already like glowing. It's clearly magic. Um, and he says, "Look, what we could do is this: we sign the contract, and it basically negates the ring's power. Like once the contract is signed, it takes a piece
Nah,
of your
fuck
blood,
that.
and it allows you to be scryed. It allows you personally to be scryed."
I walk back in with the group.
Yep.
Let's
He
just
said,
leave.
if you're willing to do that, he's like, if you're willing to do that, and then he says, I'm going to cast another spell, and
Okay,
and
okay,
he
all right.
explains.
No.
He does explain. He does explain the spell will make it so you cannot take the ring on it. If you do, you'll lose your finger. He said, and you'll never be able to put a ring back
I
on. He
regret
said so.
helping this man.
Sounds like a terrible deal.
Yeah.
Look, all right, fine, shit.
But Henri, you
fine.
do know, and by the way, Henri, from meta perspective, you do know though, without insight checks or anything else, I wanted to be very clear. This character is actually seemingly for his own purposes, like even though to you guys it sucks, you can tell he's a decent person. Like he's part of something that tracks down criminals very clearly. You've already put two together. He's trying to do the right thing, Henri. So it doesn't mean that you want to agree with that or even like it, but that's his intention.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
I hold out my hand to Vin. Just 5 minutes.
No idea what do you want from me? I laid my life bare. Fine, fuck it. You know what?
He said the
Because it
only
does-
reason, and he interrupts you. He said the only reason I haven't started casting is because of the help that this group did. Understand that. That is it. He said I am far, far, far more powerful than you, and I think I could take all of you. To be honest, if I had to, I don't want to. He said that is the only reason I have not started casting. Keep that in mind.
trying to stalk, and then we go down
And
a new
Abel, by the way,
diatribe.
Abel, you're not totally sure. You think he's a very, very powerful wizard. You think he's more powerful
I don't know
than the wizard side.
Can I do an
But
insight check?
you can. But Abel, yeah, exactly. Abel, you can just know this passively because you're constantly sizing magic and things up. He's powerful, but maybe the whole group could take him. You're not so sure. It's possible the whole group could take him, but it'd be probably a hard fight. Yeah.
15.
Threaten him, but I'm going to remind him, like, you may be really good, but I've seen you be wrong, and you've been alive for what, like 5 minutes?
Yeah. He says, right. Oh, we're gonna talk about all my failures. He starts laughing. He said,
Well,
look,
maybe-
he said,
maybe
I don't
sometime-
remember. He goes to
Yeah.
Abel and says, I don't even remember how that ring, how it broke. I don't remember how the device broke. It's killing me. He said, I can't believe it broke. Yeah, he's now commiserating with Abel. But anyway, go ahead.
Maybe give things a minute. I mean, the Brotherhood, I'm sure, gets things wrong too sometimes. This guy's been pretty square with us.
Yeah, he
I
said,
don't-
yeah, but you saw the way he answered. He's clearly hiding something.
Or maybe he
I-
just
I'm-
doesn't
I'm-
trust the Brotherhood.
He said, well, that's fine. I'm open to that. Why not? He said the Brotherhood has had a, murky past for sure. He said, but give me a good reason.
I look at brother.
Friend rushed off and tried to go in there and grab the thing, and he disappeared in his debt. He made a decision too fast and he's dead. So that's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Do you need the ring right now? Do you think any of us are going to try to kill you?
He said, no, he said, I'm not actually concerned with anyone trying to kill me. What I'm concerned is that you're a group of charming serial killers, because I honestly believe you. I do believe that Vinny here is the only one that that had the ring right now. But for all I know, you could just be very charming liars. Like, I can't even task detect thoughts. And by the way, I won't. Yeah,
Serial killer liar?
he said it's possible.
I'm not
He said,
saying I take it as an insult. I'm like, really? You think that though?
he said it's possible. He said it's certainly possible. He said, however, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt for right now. Maybe only he's the serial killer, or worse, maybe he's not even a serial killer. Maybe he's just a master criminal, or maybe he's doing worse things that he needs this ring for. Like he said, you admitted you just met him.
Yeah, but he's only been helpful to us ever since we met him.
And he
Yeah,
also,
he's sneaky as hell. Pretty obvious. But I mean,
Here's brother, but he
mean,
says, look, look, we could argue this all day, but the truth of the matter is, I just need to be sure, obviously. Just like you should be sure. You should never like trust people without being sure. Let's just be sure. And he points to Vinny. So tell me, how did you get the ring?
Do I get?
I mean, you can definitely lie to him. If you lie to him well, he'll try to contest it, but he won't know. Yeah. You can try to make a deception check for sure. You don't know
Okay.
how good he is at this, but I'll.
I mean, if you would get in trouble for saying, you could tell him that.
This isn't some big elaborate deception or ruse. You guys are hung up on this ring. I
Answer
got
the
it as
question.
okay.
we're not interrupting you. Just say it.
I got it as a down payment for a job. They didn't have the cash. They had this ring. They I don't think they knew exactly what it was, but I had means to find out. And yes, has it proven useful to me? Yes. Has it allowed me to evade the law and conduct my own business without being scryed on? Yes. Has it allowed me to evade capture since running afoul of some powerful people in Waterdeep? A third time, yes. And I could answer easy hypothetical questions that I ask myself all day. But the pure and simple truth of it is, do you believe me? And at this point, I don't care anymore. Do it. He fucking takes off, he throws it and takes the ring and lets it hit
Can I
Kino
try
in the
and-
chest. Do
I
whatever
wanna-
the fuck you want with it
I
now.
want to catch it.
Okay, you can.
Oh,
You can just
Castle
catch it.
Parts,
You
not
can,
Kino.
you can
What?
catch it. You can catch it. You can catch it. Yeah. And yeah, he wouldn't have known anyway.
'Cause
If it
I'm
was a liar or
so
not, so.
just
Yep. No, that's fine. If you take it off, I mean, that's a good show of. So Kino, you catch it. That's fine. It's
Well-
brother castle person.
Would I
Yeah.
have time to? Yeah. Never mind.
I would have the minute I would have said it, I would have cast it on Kino.
The minute you saw what?
The minute I would have saw that ring leave, I would have
Yeah.
cast it.
Well, just do this. It's easy to resolve these things. Kino, you make an initiative roll, and brother, you make an initiative roll. And if brother, you get higher, you cast it before he catches it.
met people more willing to attack another person on the word of a ghost based on something so fucking trivial.
He said, "I am quite alive, sir."
You are at the bottom of my priority list.
15 beats a 1. 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, you cast it, and it hits your chest and falls over.
huh?
What false? Oh, the ring?
And
the ring,
Chris-
the
Chris-
ring.
Chris,
Yeah.
that was a 26 for my deception check because
Yeah,
I omitted a lot of facts.
Yeah, no, that's totally cool. And I already rolled anyway because I kind of knew that, and he didn't. He believes you. He actually believes you.
Rin stares in shock at
Abel
brother.
was like open mouth pointing at brother. Why?
Not again.
What?
Here's the
Okay.
thing. Here's the thing. That shit doesn't work unless it's on my finger.
Insight check.
Can I insight check while I'm being held?
It does need to be. It is a magic item and does need to be attuned. You would know that, by the way. But you can incite him for sure.
I'm gonna pick the
24.
ring up off the ground. I'm not gonna do anything with it. I just don't want.
Natural 20.
Okay.
I don't roll advantage, but so yeah, it's a 20.
I beat
Yeah,
you with
so-
a 21.
I
he-
legitimately
he-
believe it.
Now here's the thing. Number one, it is a magic item. It would have to be attuned. So there's that. Number two, though, magic items are magic items, and you don't think that's probably the case, but it's certainly a possibility. It doesn't look like he believes he's lying, but at the same time, it's possible that he just doesn't know. That said, though, it does hit the ground. You are now a held person. The wizard, by the way, reacts too, and he looks at you. And by the way, the very first time that he starts to like get his full capacity, because you can tell not only does he have amnesia, but everyone that's come back like this, it's a little bit discombobulated. He's like, wait a second. He's like, he's like, you're, he's like, I'm sorry, but I actually thought that you were a shield. Like, and he goes
I
off.
get
He's
that.
like, and he looks at Henri. No, he's talking to a brother. He looks at Henri. He's like, I really thought that was your shit. He's like, what are you? And he's
We'll
very
explain
clear that
that
he's talking to you, brother.
I would just take that ring first before that spell wears off. Of her.
That's fine. So you are you taking it, brother?
Oh, I went to go pick it up. If
No,
brother,
no.
Why did
I gave it to her.
Oh, you threw it through the air.
Yeah,
I-
no, you
I
threw it.
I
You
threw
threw
it
it
at
at
Kino. I threw
you
it
threw it at
Kino.
Kino. You threw it at Kino, and it bounced off Kino's chest onto the ground. And Henri, what were you saying?
I was just gonna pick the ring up off the ground so it wasn't on the ground, and also so the other wizard couldn't go for it.
And brother, did you like Did you like dive for it or something, or?
I mean, if
No, I just made sure that Kino didn't catch it first.
Okay, that's fine. So Henri, you can pick it up.
Holy
Yeah,
shit.
Henri, you can pick it up.
I'm just like
Bro,
very calmly walking over and picking it up, and then I'll go just stand back where I was standing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brother, what the
People-
hell are you doing?
Yeah.
He just
Well,
that is
the
a
the
new
wizard
one.
also looks at brother too. Now that he's seen that brother is its own thing that just cast, and he's not like Henri's like for instance like shield golem. So which is a thing that wizards have. But anyway, so he basically looks. He's like, what are you? And he goes through. He's like, how are you casting?
First question, not what, whom. Second, my only explanation is that before possession or movement of the ring takes place, let's be clear on intention. What do you intend to do with this ring now that he is no longer wearing it?
He said, listen, normally, if I caught this ring out in the open, I would confiscate it forcefully. He said, in this case, he said, there's a couple different things we could do. He said, first and foremost, he said, I see you just cast magic. He said, if you have a way to make me believe you, meaning that you will always tell the truth or something other than that, he said, or if anyone here, and he looks at Henri, if you have the ability to do that or whatever, or any kind of magic items that would allow that, I am more than willing to have a rational conversation with you to determine your intentions. And if you have good intentions, I will, in simply because you helped me with this, surrender the ring to someone that I can trust, and I will pretend like I never saw it. Now, I will be very, very, very honest with you. If it turns out that in 3 weeks I find out that a large metal man, and he looks at you, Abel, and he says, person with pale bluish skin, and like he goes through and gives your descriptions. He said, if I find out that you guys are wreaking havoc, obviously I'm going to do something about it. But if I don't, then I'll just look the other way. This has
Brother
happened in
will-
the past. Yep, with
My
other
brother will
mages.
just
Yep.
slowly open up his tunic to reveal the holy symbol on his chest.
He said, well, that's something. That is definitely something. He
I
said,
give
see
you my
worship Amen."
as a representative of the Temple of Bahamut that while we are dysfunctional more often than not quarrelsome amongst ourselves, we are good people.
He said, a cleric. He said, well, he said, there's only one way to do this. He said, are you willing to cast, a magical like area so we can talk truthfully?
I would be more than happy to.
He said, well, then I will surrender. As long as I can ask you questions and you answer them, then I'll surrender the ring to you, but to you alone.
I understand.
It's not your fucking ring.
Yeah, he says, listen, I'm being really, really gracious here. He said unless someone else can come into the zone as well and can answer anyone that has good intentions, this ring can be in their possession. Or, and he points at you. He said you come into the zone and I'll ask you questions, and if you have good intentions, then you can keep the ring.
I'll go into the zone, but I look
Auto-zone.
down.
Ring.
Yeah.
I'm being held right now.
Yeah.
Speak either.
So, by the way, really good trusting move.
And he explains that too. He's like that's the other thing that I'm a little hesitant on. He's like, why are we casting hostile spells at each other
Yeah.
if we know each other? Like
That's it.
he does ask you
Not
that directly.
hostile.
That's the
That
that's
is
the
a
first that's the first excellent question you've asked.
yeah,
To be
that is a
fair-
really good question, brother.
There is
No,
no
no.
intention to keep or hold the ring for anyone else. It's just to make sure that everything is laid on the table before decisions are made.
We
Yes.
don't cast spells on each other like that, brother.
But no,
We have
everything's
before,
laid on the
you
table except you fucking own the table. It's your table.
Of course.
No, let's not jump down
Yep.
brother's throat. He had a reason
But-
to. It's
Yeah,
all right.
but-
Yeah, no, I'm
I don't want to hear the first thing
see
about
it,
someone jumping on or down someone's throat. Both of you literally pounced on me, so let's back that one up.
All I ask is you drop the spell now that the ring is not in
Yeah,
my hand.
the spell's already been dropped.
All right, I step forward. I'll be happy to answer any questions because I want to make sure that we're all friends here. And I look at Macretus and I look at Finn. I want
Fucking
everyone to
were.
be able. I want everyone to be able to leave this cabin in one piece and trusting each other.
It's like
Honest-
privacy isn't an option here.
At this point, Abel's gonna walk back towards where 7472 is and the device, and he's gonna start attuning to it and figuring it out. I mentioned later that I'm gonna ask the monodrone to help me with it, and he's gonna leave this scene just away. Doesn't really want to be part of that.
Anu's going to give the ring to Grin, who she thinks can protect it better than she can.
Okay.
And then she's going to go over and stand near Vin and talk to him.
Okay.
What?
I don't know. God, I was not expecting the hostility like the second that I said I was going to go talk to you.
Yeah,
got-
well,
I wanted to... While they're having their discussion, I thought we could talk about stuff. I don't know. I don't want to be in the circle.
should I prepare for another blitz?
I am very small
We never
and not
blitzed
that
you.
strong.
Yeah,
I don't
me
think
too.
you have to prepare for anything.
No, you'd be surprised.
Well, so brother, the questions that he's going to ask you, and by the way, who else is going into the zone of truth?
I'll go into the zone of truth.
All right, so Kino,
Oh,
you're going.
I'm in there because I'm.
Yep.
trying-
Okay. So then he's
It-
going to ask you directly. He's like, do you have any intentions of causing harm while wearing this ring? And by harm, I mean, are you going to do any criminal acts? Are you going to kill people? He's asking this he's asking them in succession, and he expects an answer for each one. But he says, "Are you going to do any criminal acts? Are you going to kill innocent people?" Are you- Yep.
One at a time, there, big fella.
Oh, he's not talking to you. He's talking to the
No,
people in the zone
no,
of truth.
Well, right, but
I'm in the zone of
He's
truth.
in the zone. Yeah, he's talking to directly. So go ahead and answer those two, I guess, Vinny.
Criminal acts. A lot. Yes, probably. If everything goes my way. All about that. Kill people would never do it. Definitely not in the playbook.
He said, "Okay." He said you're gonna have to do better than that, though. What kind of criminal acts?
Probably some extortion and blackmail to get back what was taken from me.
He said,
Maybe a little bit of tomb raiding. I don't know. Is that a crime? Is that a crime? Can someone tell me if that's a crime?
he said, "All right." So he said those are all reasonable things, and he like sighs. He says, "Are you? Oh my gosh." He's like, so you're going to go. so you're going to blackmail someone that took something from you? He said, well, I don't understand why you couldn't just been honest with that in the beginning. Like, I'm a reasonable person. And he looks at brother and he looks at Keener. He says, answer the same questions, please. Are you going to do anyone harm once we leave the cabin? Any innocent person, are you going to harm them or do anything to that effect?
I
It's-
intend to know. I intend to harm no innocent person. We
Yep.
have, yeah, we
How
have
skinny
been
is this
through.
your business?
Well, I'm just being asked questions.
No,
That's
no,
No,
I
that's
think
what
he's
I'm
talking to
saying.
Macretus, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
No, he says no. It's absolutely my business. He said you don't understand. He said please just don't make this worse on yourself. Just
Wait, no, I got a
quiet.
question for you in turn. You asked us this: are you part of the Arcane Brotherhood, or are you a part of the Cloak?
I am part of neither. He said cloak. The cloak. He says of
You're not
what?
as well informed as you think you are.
No, you can tell. You can tell he might be. He said, but I want to know exactly which. The cloak of what?
Can I make an insight check?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll join that action.
Go for it.
The Ascendancy.
Nope.
Are you so meta out of character? Vinny, are you talking about the cloak of many stars order?
Yep.
Or are you talking about something? You are
Yeah.
okay. So he says the cloak. He says the cloak. He said you're gonna have to elaborate.
Of many stars. The Ascendancy. The
He
Order of
said
the Black Lake. All the names.
He said he looks at everyone. He says, "Well, that's a surprise." He said, "How do you know about the cloak of many stars?"
I am not in
I
the
mean, he
cloak
says
of many stars.
it is
I'm-
obscure knowledge. So your insight check would have shown. He's not going to hide anything. He's obviously telling the truth anyway. So uh, he's obviously very hesitant in getting out any information about the cloak of many stars.
Why don't you hand that ring back to me? Because I'm the best shot at getting those fuckers back, asshole.
He says. Wait, before we
Yeah,
get
yeah,
out of
yeah.
hand, he's like, no. He says, don't. And he looks irritated at you. He says, tell me, just out of curiosity, what do you know about the cloak of many stars? He said, not many people know of the cloak of many stars, much less people not skilled in magic. And he looks at you and he says, are you skilled in magic?
I mean, to a degree, I'm not no grand arc wizard, but fuck, it ain't to get these guys back isn't as complex as you might make it out to be. It just takes a little bit of know-how and elbow grease.
He said, fine. He said,
He's
look,
not
if
expecting
that's
that.
really, if he says, if your goal is really to find wizards of the cloak of many stars, he said, and obviously it is, he said, then fine. He said, fine. And he says, you take the ring.
These guys won't be floating through limbo much longer. I've already got a couple solid leads, and it's gonna be done sooner rather than later.
He said, well then listen, if you really are looking for wizards in the cloak of many stars,
I've already got
another East temple
Yithrin.
Yithrin fell from the ground north of here thousands of years ago. The best chance of finding anything more about the Netherese, he said, I'll be doing this myself later, is to eventually go up there. Once we activate this item, we'll have a good, at least attempt at getting closer to the Sea of Moving Ice, and he says, or whatever the locals call that thing. But he said, honestly, right now it's inhabitable. He said, unless you have magical items that can warm you, he said, or spells that you can cast to warm you, he said it's unfortunately a death trap getting farther north.
Yeah,
Right now
well,
it's inhospitable. But he said, with my device, it would give us an hour or so of exploring. If we can get in underneath, maybe somehow figure out how to melt the glaciers. That's the other thing. He said, I'm pretty sure that it's under thousands of feet of ice. But if there's a way to melt the glaciers, if there's a way to get in there, he said, that's your best bet.
well,
He
yeah,
said-
that's my
But
thought
he said
process.
you should have just said this though. He said if you had just mentioned all of this, we would have. It's fine though.
I'm
He
sure
said it's
that
fine.
was the case, but I don't make it a point of spilling all my secrets to every guy who asked me 2 questions.
He said, all right, fair. He said, so obviously this group has a lot more going on for it. He's like, maybe it was fate that brought us all here then. Interesting.
Yes. We're sorry that it got as hostile as it did. I hope you can understand where we're all coming from.
He said, I do. He said, I'm also careful, as you can understand where I'm coming from.
Whatever. Let's get our shit. Get out of here.
Yeah, so he actually goes through to this door here, and he puts here, let me get the stream in a better place. He puts his hands on it, they like glow slightly. Oops.
We're actually
And,
gonna ask him something real quick.
go ahead, you can
Since-
ask him while he's doing this.
Well,
And
it was gonna be while
he
was
does open the
inside.
door though.
I'm so
He is able
excited
to open
learn
the door.
Louis stuff.
And yeah, he said, yeah, we can leave. It's safe. And he closes the door again. So go ahead.
I
Grant
would ask
doesn't
him when
know
he
what
was
he
in the
did.
zone.
Sorry, what was that, brother?
I would have asked him when he was in the zone of truth.
Yeah, that's fine. He'll walk back to it actually. He's
he
fine being in it.
Now, with that particular bit of business taken care of, you said you worked with the Arcane Brotherhood.
He said yes. Yep, I have worked with the Arcane Brotherhood. He said, by the way, the Arcane Brotherhood, for the most part, is a neutral organization. They did clean up Luskin, but he said, I don't trust them. He said, I don't trust them. He said, also, they have a history of doing semi-nefarious things. As a matter of fact, their leadership is untrustworthy at best, unfortunately. He said, but there's no one has any evidence that they're doing anything, terrible.
Don't
Why?
they? Okay.
Why do you ask? He said, I
Well,
certainly don't.
Since we've done you this favor here in repairing your item and bringing you back to life, I believe that puts you in a position of debt.
Well, he said, technically, I don't think you actually brought me back to life, to be honest. I think, he said, however, you said you did finish my artifact. He said, and that's something that I've been trying to do for months. He said, and I couldn't do it in my current state. He said, but what do you mean exactly? What favor do you need out of me?
We were in Luskin recently, and, well, let's just say things went a little off-brand for us. We had a bad day. And unfortunately, we might have run afoul of the Dark Brotherhood.
The Arcane Brotherhood. And he said, what, did you kill someone?
We didn't kill someone, it's just we had an issue with an item that we did dispose of. But unfortunately, the minute it had made itself known in the area, the Arcane Brotherhood was looking forward to now, by extension, us.
He said, what kind of item?
If I told you, you would not be happy.
He said, no, he said, it's better just to be honest.
I look at Kino.
He's just gonna find out if he asks them about us, so might as well just tell him.
Fair point. Are you familiar with Vecna?
He said, I am.
Then you know of the Book of Vile Darkness.
He said, you were in possession of the Book of Vile Darkness? He
Not
said, wait. He said, wait. He said, wait, more importantly, he said, does the Arcane Brotherhood have the Book of Vile Darkness?
They do not.
And we made sure that they did not get it.
Okay, he said, that's good. He said, let's definitely make sure that doesn't happen. He said, thank goodness. He said, listen, I don't trust them. He said, honestly, so if they know the Book of Vile Darkness is around, that you had it, I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest, especially with the leadership the way that it is. Yeah, that would be a problem.
Who is it led
said-
by?
We agree. It wasn't an easy day.
He said that's the problem with the leadership of the Arcane Brotherhood. So there's 4 of the head leaders in the Arcane Brotherhood. Even their own mages do not know who they are because they literally mind wipe them as they see them. That's why no one trusts them. No one actually knows the top 4 people of the Arcane Brotherhood and the way their structure works.
Yeah.
Worse, he said worse, the way that the Arcane Brotherhood goes around and basically solves certain problems is sometimes through ends justifies the means of violence, and this is a known thing. That's why they you can't always trust them. That's what I was saying before, that they did clean up Luskin. They've done good things. They actually brought back the host tower of the Arcane. They've done good things around Faerun, but I wouldn't necessarily trust them. For all we know, to be honest, they could be the most evil organization on the planet, but until there's proof of that, there's nothing that anyone can do. And they may not be. They might be good people. It's just that no one knows who the top 4 are.
Then let me go. And I will have those guys running
No,
for the hills.
he said I will. He said I will. If you're obviously your real intention is to bring back Wizards from the Cloak of Many Stars. He said, do you understand how they disappeared to begin with?
Like
The
at
spell
like a
plague.
6th grade reading level, yeah.
He said the spell plague.
I re-
Once the spell plague hit, their entire host tower vanished from our plane of existence. It came back several years later. Not a single one of them was back, but their cloaks were. And that's where they became famous because they had these. There was these fluttering cloaks of many stars all over the place with no wizards in them. It honestly looked like a horror scene, but no blood, no anything else. It's just they were all gone, every single one of them,
well,
vanished completely.
I what's important is how we get them back, which I'm the only one, as far as I've been told, knows how to do.
He said, "Well," he said, "Good." He said, "This is good." He said, I actually feel much better and feel fine giving you the ring and going through it." Now, you said the Arcane Brotherhood. So the Arcane Brotherhood is looking for you. That's why you have the ring. I assume that's the reason.
No.
No.
He is a recent addition. They are looking for us because they were made aware of the book's existence thanks to a particularly mouthy cleric of Lathander.
It's
And
I see. I see.
The ring is
He said,
precautionary.
he said, well, this is, maybe this is circumstance or whatever, but with that ring, they won't be able to scry you.
we're aware, but we at least like the heat
Yeah.
taken off.
Yeah, he says
The ring is-
also, he said, I don't know if you know this, but something you should be aware of. One of the reasons why many people are up here in Neverwinter, that's why you can't trust anyone up here. There are serial killers and thieves and other things here because scrying is very, 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 very hard to do up here. It's possible, can be done, but it's hard. No one knows why. That something about this area affects scrying in a way that's never been, studied. But
We've heard.
yeah. But he said, with that ring, there's no way they'll find you.
However, even if the slightest he was taken off us, we would be appreciative, but with a trick and turn, I would offer you a piece of information that you might find useful seeing your particular line of work.
He said, yeah. Go
In
for it.
Waterdeep, there's a string of murders going on by a group and makeup similar to ours. You'd call them evil body doubles. Except my
Of course.
particular friend is currently looking like a metal dragon.
He said, well, honestly, I'm glad we're in a zone of truth right now because this would have complicated things greatly. I mean, he obviously could just be lying because it could be you guys, but now that you're in the zone of truth, at the very least, I thank you for telling me this because that would have been a huge, huge issue, and I found out later. He said, that is a problem. He said, do they have a ring?
No,
They do
but
not. But
Well, he
they
said,
all-
you know what you could do then? He said, I can find them if they're truly your doubles. He said, and honestly, that's high level magic. He said, I honestly don't know how to do it, but if that's real, then you know how I can find them, but you're going to have to submit a blood sample. I can scry them. I can scry them with your own blood. I won't be able to find you as long as you're in radius of that ring, but I will be able to find them.
Is it safe to leave?
yeah.
Yeah, you can leave. You can leave.
Although we're not the most worried about them so much as we are worried about the evil body double of Elminster that's somewhere.
He said Elminster. He said what? He said evil. He said first of all, Elminster kind of went away. No one's seen him
Did.
in a long time. But he said, I don't know how you know Elminster, but are you saying that Elminster is evil now?
the good version of him was killed in front of us, and well,
He was
by
not
his
killed-
evil one.
And
He
you
was
guys
not
are
killed-
worried about me.
He was not
Would
killed
you
by
please be
us. He
quiet?
was
No,
killed.
I,
He was killed
Don't.
by a disintegration spell. We believe.
He said, this is unbelievable. He said, I have to leave at once. He said, thank you for telling me this. By the way, can I take your blood? It would help if we could first track down your doubles, as you say, and then find out what's going on with Elminster. He said, you have no idea. He said, you really have no idea. Elminster had the power to kill Mistra. If
Yeah.
he is literally with Mistra now, you understand that like he's like, I don't think you really understand. He said Elminster is the most powerful archmage Beirut has ever known. He is literally Mistra's chosen. He could walk in, go to Mistra, kill her, take over that, cease all magic if he wanted to, except for wizards that he choose to have magic, or he could just poison all of our magic. We could all die at any second. Every single spell. He said, that is literally the worst thing that could possibly happen. I mean, I can't even imagine. He's like, honestly, I'd rather have Vecna come down and take over Pharaoh. He said that is a
You're
might
gonna have
terrible,
like an
terrible thing.
anxiety attack.
He said, could you please submit blood samples?
Uh,
One of you.
Can we have it back
You
after
could have
you
my
scry?
blood.
Can
He
we
said,
have it
yeah,
back after you scry?
well, no, here's the problem. He said it's not just that. I actually need to give this to other people. Like, it's someone's got to give me a blood sample, because it's not just going to be one scrying. Like, I don't know if you know how scrying works or how the spell works, and he does explain it to you, by the way. Basically, you scry something and a little invisible orb comes through and you can see where they're going, but they're going to have to continuously do this. They're going to have to track down your doubles. Like, there's no question now.
You can have my blood.
They should be all together.
He said, thank you. He said, yeah, that this is good. Meta perspective, this might be the best thing you guys have done so far, but yeah. So he said, okay. He said, and he takes a small dagger, he takes your blood, puts it in a vial, Grin, takes it back. He said, thank you. Now, Grin, understand, if he tells you he's not going to give this to the Arcane Brotherhood, by the way. Now, if someone does scry and you are outside this 30-foot thing right now, it's auto succeeding. So just keep that in mind. They will always know where you are in that
And
case.
I have my ring. I have my ring back, right?
Yeah. He gave you the
All right,
ring
Vin-
back.
Vin
I
is
have the
walking
ring.
out onto
Yeah,
the
Grin
porch.
has
I'm
the
Oh
walking
no,
out.
I'm
No,
sorry.
Grin
I'm
has
sorry. So
it.
Grin does have the ring.
All right,
So
well,
Grin,
then I'm staying.
yeah, but Grin, but as if someone scries now, they will always find your double. They will not find you. However, if you get outside 30 feet of him at any time and they happen to be scrying, that orb will go. It's basically an eye and an ear, and it's invisible. Honoring your dragon will always see this. But so if you do get scryed, your dragon will be able to see the orb. But and by the way, he's out too. I wanted to explain that. She's out too. I wanted to explain that a little later because we didn't really talk about her. She's terrified and scared. She was super scared during that entire thing where you were running, but she didn't take any damage. So because you didn't have to make a thing that could have killed her. But anyway, but she'll be able to see the thing. She says this to you as she hears the wizard say this, by the way. But anyway, and that's my bad for not
scratch her
going
under the chin.
more. Yep. But
Have any of our doubles been eliminated?
Nope.
he doesn't know. He has no idea.
Can you tell us about
I was just trying to.
Chaos Gods?
Can
Go ahead.
We
I
kind
have
of
my ring
glossed.
back?
No, he's keeping it. Can you tell us about the Chaos Gods? We
No,
kind of
you don't just get to brush that off.
Wait,
Grin,
wait.
you
I'm
should,
talking about gods.
Grin, you should
No,
hand
I
the
don't
ring
know.
back.
I don't care what you're talking about.
Grin.
I put a hand over Vin's mouth. Wait, we're talking about gods.
No. I'm checking back. No, you just don't get to unilaterally make all decisions, especially when they come to me.
I just want to hear about the
After-
god that I just witnessed.
Well,
yeah,
he
and I
does
just
look
want
at
my
you.
ring back.
Yeah. So Grin has your ring, by the way. Grin is the one that has it. So
Grin.
it's up to Grin if he gives it back to you. You there, Tom?
Yeah, I'm here. Henri says that Grin should give it back.
Well, because the wizard guy said that you'd be protected as long as Vin has the ring. So discounting
Yeah,
anything else.
he's not scrying it right now. Obviously, you know that, Henri. But yes, everyone knows that he's not doing any scrying right now, just as a meta. But yeah.
If Vin having the ring protects you, then he should have the ring.
Only if he's
And if-
within 30 feet.
That's right. If he just has to walk away right now, then we are not protected.
That's
I think Grin in character I say this. I think Grin should keep the ring because Vin can just stay within 30 feet of him.
It's
There's
not.
no doubt.
No, it's not his ring.
Yeah, and
That's
keep in mind,
not a point of debate.
if somebody is going to be wearing the ring, it might as well be Vin, who's already attuned to it, and it's his ring.
I mean, Grin could just attune to it.
If you trust him with that, I will trust your judgment.
Might I
I thought the whole point of the questioning and all this stuff happening was so that we'd be able to trust him more. And we're right
I
back
didn't
to
get to
square
finish.
one.
I didn't get
Result
to finish
was
my question.
you take my shit and run off with it.
Well, I mean, it sounds like the only person that's going to be running right now is you, because you seem like
I seem
you
what?
like
A
you don't
little
trust
on
us.
edge. A little. You
Yes.
literally pounced on me.
I didn't do anything.
No, you did. It was you and Gren.
They
I didn't pounce on you.
Neither
I
of
just
them.
walked
out
up
of
to you.
character, they didn't like actually pounce
They
on
said
you.
they said that they were jumping on me, and I said
I,
I wasn't
no,
were
I
doing
just,
moving
anything.
I just
towards you.
walked up to you.
Yeah, no, they
I
were
said
moving
Yeah,
I
yeah,
towards
said
you.
I
They didn't jump
advance on
you.
you, which
Yeah.
is not.
Yeah, he
rude.
advanced. He advanced. He didn't actually like physically like hit you or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Or hold you down or any of that.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
didn't actually like
But
move
okay.
to attack you.
So Grin approaches Vin, says, "Listen, I'm going to give you your ring back. You cooperated, and that's all I wanted. But that means you got to stay with us."
And also,
You're in the zone of truth too, so yeah. That's the other thing I was about to say is, guys, you're in the zone of truth. You could just ask him if he has every intention to stay. Yeah.
do you
Oh,
have?
no, I'm not asking if you haven't. I'm saying you have to. That's not a question.
Yeah.
You can have your
So-
ring,
so-
but you're with us.
Or you kill me and take it.
No, or you can leave and not get it back in the first place.
We won't kill you.
So you rob me, or I do your bidding.
Yes. Yeah, that's
Yes.
the way you want to look at it. Yes.
That's not the way I look at it. That's the way it is.
If you see it
Fine.
that way, then
I,
there's no
I'm not
point.
gonna. I'm not gonna disagree with you.
On Grin, for the record, the only reason why I cast the spell on Kino is they wanted to see if the ring.
Brother,
would
we're gonna
phase.
talk about that later. Believe me.
It was harmless.
So,
It's all right, brother.
So
forgive you.
I don't get to make any choices on my own.
No,
No,
you have
make
two
choices.
choices.
You take
You
take my
can either-
property. No,
you
you're
can either
taking my
have your ring
property
back
and
and
extorting
stay
me
with
for it.
us, or you
You take my property and then extort me to get it back.
If you can,
sure.
you can stick with us, and we can help you in your reason
I'm not
to
sure
come
how-
out here. Because you came
You-
out
you-
here, you looked for us for a reason. You followed us out here so that you can find the thing you were looking for.
Yeah, and I thought, I've done my best to prove why you should trust me, but
Yes.
every action all of you have done has given me no reason to trust you.
Because
Not killing me on sight isn't a trustworthy action.
but we are only doing that because you alerted the Arcane Brotherhood.
I didn't do anything.
At the
I don't
bar.
think Kino. I don't think Kino would
Yeah,
know that he
we
did
don't-
that. Would he? Would she?
Well, no, brother
It-
told me.
And he also didn't know he was in the Arcane Brotherhood, and Brother hasn't figured that out yet.
Well, you
Yeah,
could
that was
say
many-
in the
that's
zone of
not fair.
truth.
Oh,
You could
never
say
mind.
that in the zone of truth.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was gonna say exactly. I mean, you guys are in the zone of truth, by the way. No one's walked out of it, so
No one knows that action was done because it hasn't come up.
absolutely. I totally agree with that, by the way.
All right, Vin. Listen.
Sorry, brother actually.
So from a meta perspective, everyone is extorting him from his property and saying, "We're taking your thing. You have to
No,
do
I-
what we say, or you're never getting it back."
Kind of true.
I
Not
thought-
exactly, but essentially that's agreed to. Yes.
Not
I-
everyone is saying that. Grin is saying that.
I
Yeah.
thought in character we knew, because I saw him pass brother the wand from the agent that
I never gave him the wand. I threw it in the snow.
No, you threw it across the bar to him.
Yeah, you literally gave it to me
Oh
across
well,
the
then
bar.
I went outside, but no
I
one
did.
knows that I fucked with like the Arcane
No.
Brotherhood with a disguise thing.
You stole from
I
him,
thought-
though.
you know,
and
that-
that's what I.
But that's the other thing. He didn't. To be
And-
very, very clear from meta perspective, what actually happened was all he did was show him brother. He didn't actually go to the Arcane Brotherhood and say that. Like there was no conversation that was like, "Hey, these guys are the guys you're looking for." Anything like that. That didn't happen.
No, I
None
didn't
of
mean
that
that. I only meant him taking the wand from the Brotherhood, seeing him storm out in a panic looking for it, and then Vin passing brother the wand across the bar. That's all I'm
Vin
talking.
also
Yeah,
had no idea that
that
was a member of the Arcane Brotherhood. The only person who knew that was the person who cast the Detect Thought spell.
Yeah,
That was also
is-
never
is
communicated to him.
That is actually correct. He did not know that it's a member of the Arcane Brotherhood. That is correct.
Technically,
So
No, brother
only
did.
Brother and Kino.
Yeah.
This is
Brother and
all
Kino
going back
do.
to so little has been communicated to Vin. and then he does something, and then he's being judged on these actions as if he had this knowledge, which he doesn't.
Right.
So, what?
Listen, hold on. Vin, I understand that from your perspective, um, we're being pretty awful to you, and I respect that because it's not totally untrue. But what I need you to know is I will do whatever I need to protect my party, and I understand that you don't know, you don't have all the information, and I sympathize, but I don't care. So you have two choices. Like I said, you can have your ring back and you're coming with us, or I'm going to keep it and you can leave a free man.
That was a bunch of diatribe bullshit that didn't change the facts of reality at all and only served to make you feel better about the morally questionable actions that you've chosen to undertake.
Oh, believe me, we don't feel better. So pick one.
You know what, guys, just fucking keep it. I really don't like. There's nothing.
We
I
have been
thought you
running for our
guys.
lives.
Again, you're saying this and it means nothing to him because there's no backstory that's been communicated.
Well, you just heard everything that
It-
we told in the zone of truth to
Yeah.
Makrita.
But
There
like,
are people scrying us.
things like Karsus, that doesn't mean anything to him. This book,
There,
I don't know what that is.
the Arcane Brotherhood is scrying us, looking for us, and is probably going to kill us. We don't know that that's their intention, but that's pretty much how they operate, as far as we know.
Yes.
Vin.
Well,
We
then
have
how
a
about you give me back my ring? You help me help you. You help me, or whatever. Just give me back my fucking ring.
Vin.
I get the cloak ascendancy back, and everyone wins. We can all hate each other and part our ways. It seems like half of you don't like each other anyways, despite your insistent nature that you'll do anything to protect each other. Casting spells on each other at the first available opportunity of disagreement doesn't really lend a lot of credence to that.
Well, wait, but they are in the zone of truth. If so, from a meta perspective, it doesn't really matter if your character understands this or not. But you know that you are magically so just to be like this is really
No,
really important from a
I
meta
know that
standpoint
you can say
because
things,
the
but
no, but
it's not.
the spell literally commands you to tell the truth. So it makes you intrinsically understand the nature of that. So as you guys are talking, just keep everything in mind. Once you go to speak, you go to, for instance, human nature is a bunch of half lies, especially when you're communicating. But what the spell does, and this is why it's magic, and this is all you know, Vinny,
You
from
can
your side.
you can still double speak.
You can talk in the sense that everything that you say has to absolutely be truthful, and the spell compels you. Otherwise, it says you can't talk. So it basically stops you from communicating if you read the actual. So essentially, long story short, from the actual like canon perspective, you are so compelled to tell the truth that you have two options: everything that you say is truthful, or you just don't say it, and then that means it's you're just not going to say it for whatever reason. But if you read the actual spell flavor, and that's how you know it's going off, because the spell is commanding you to tell the truth. Essentially, that's just it's like a magic thing that you understand. The reason why I'm saying that is because you also know then that there is no that there is no like that's why you don't even have to do like actual insights on it unless someone's like not speaking. You know that when he's saying I will do anything to protect the party, that's a truthful statement. Otherwise I would have to correct him and say nope, you can't say that or whatever. So that's my point. So if Grin is saying that, he does believe it to be true.
And
That's my point.
But
Yeah.
also, Van doesn't give two shits about his beliefs.
No, you just know that it's you're under zone of truth, and that's a true statement. That's all I'm saying. So
And
yeah, your character may not care, but your character does know that it's true. So
this, I think you might be misinformed when you look at the intentions of us. This group is one of the closest things to a family I've ever had. And even though it can get a little tense sometimes, I know that everyone in this group would lay a lot on the line for each other, and has before. Everyone with me is the best at what they do. If you want to work with us, you need to always hold the team as the top priority. And I know it seems like we don't trust you right now, but understand that we are willing to share a lot of information with you. Everyone here is extremely dedicated, but the only reason this all works is because when it really comes down to it, we all have each other's backs. They've saved my life on more than one occasion, and I'm sure that they would do the same thing for you, but you just have to understand where we're coming from.
Seems
And
like a lot.
I just want to add, if you said sure, I'll help you, and I'll stay with you guys, and I give you the ring back, I have no magic to compel you to keep your word. I just have to trust your word. I don't have a contract for you to sign. I don't have mind control powers, whatever these mages do.
And we're sorry if
A deal forced under an ultimatum is not an honest exchange of ideals or an honest trade. It would have been different had I been squarely asked, "Will you
Yeah.
help us?" But forced? No.
You're right.
we're sorry, and we wish that we could have met under better circumstances, but the
You
reality
control the
is
circumstances. Stop being a
We're-
victimhood on the victimizing yourself for the fate that it seems that you yourself have chosen to live.
we are being hunted because we gave a book that was written by Vecna to an unknown goddess.
And
And
why did you
now-
do that?
Because it was the
Uh,
only
that
way.
person's dead.
And now that person's
I-
dead, and that was the only way
So
to get our
he
friend.
he points to Johnny, like where Johnny died. One of you gave this book, whatever it is, to a goddess, and that's made this group hunt you.
Yes.
A member of, as you say, your family elicited this fate, which now befalls all of you.
Also,
Yes.
I wasn't there for that, just so we're
So,
clear.
so self-inflicted.
And that is what I'm willing to do to protect this group. And I would do the same for you if you became a part of it. And I'm still in the zone.
Yep.
Seems rather foolish.
Yeah.
Well, we're just a bunch of fools, I guess.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah,
we
you
have the
should
upper
break-
hand.
You have the upper hands. You wouldn't be in this
You would
frozen
think so.
wasteland if you had the upper hand.
I mean, with you.
We don't have the upper hand. And honestly,
There
You
are
can't-
reasons for us being here other than running.
yes. Yeah, multiple, but it seemed like the safest course.
Speaking of which, I'm very excited to get to that reason.
Yeah, well,
So,
fuck.
You should come
might
with
I
us.
ask you?
Yeah,
Might I
give
ask
me-
you one more question?
How about you return my property to me,
Hey, I told
and
Ben
I
to
will
return it.
I will. Yes, and that was noticed and appreciated. Thank you.
Of course.
By far the most trusting member here.
Well, I'm also
if
the
you-
youngest, so.
Well, damn near not the most pleasant.
Well, you might not be anymore. I turned to the kobold.
Hi, I'm still here.
How long do kobolds live?
I'm getting my
11
fucking ring
days!
back.
What
That's
a
all I'm doing.
doozy of information. It depends. How old are you?
I'm
21.
17. Depending on the
You
day,
are
I
the
actually don't know
youngest.
what day it is.
I
86.
I managed to live a decent amount of time. I'm 23 myself. Also, I feel like this is the worst time to be asking this, considering everything I've just heard. But I remember next to nothing, and it sounds like the outside is pretty inhospitable. Would you mind me just tagging along for a little bit?
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
How is the
Yeah.
kobold remotely the priority here?
Nope.
What color is the kobold? Well, I'll get back to
So-
Vin in 1 second.
Okay, so the kobold is kind of like a rust, like orange red for the most part, except their extremities they fade to black, along with around their eyes. Their scales are also blackish, as if it were a mask.
Ooh, interesting.
Vin, we're gonna go
Two
check out the
colors.
temple.
A steel
Yes.
defender walks up to you and drops a big, heavy winter cloak at your feet. And Abel says, "You'll probably need that if we go outside."
Oh, thank you very much. That would be much appreciated.
So, now that you have your ring back, Vin,
No, I still have it.
Okay.
Yeah, no one's actually giving it back to him.
I'm waiting for your word to say that you'll stay with us.
Please stay with us.
There's
I'm,
no
I'm waiting for
contracts.
someone to ask me and not force me.
Okay.
I'm saying,
Okay, we're asking you.
Vin, will you please come and stay with us and journey with us and be part of
How
a...
about you give me the ring back and then ask me, so it's not you're hamstringing me. The situation hasn't changed despite all the niceties everyone's thrown at me. If I refuse, you keep the ring.
All
well,
right.
unfortunately,
I think you.
the least nice of the group has the ring.
Well, then we're at an impasse then.
Grin, please.
I mean, I know
No.
nothing about the situation, but it sounds like you're all going to the same place, at least as far as I can tell. Does it really matter who has it right now?
I am actually inclined to agree with the the, the kobold here.
I think
Yeah, it
that
does.
if we're trying to work on trust, the first step is giving him back his item.
I
Vin,
agree.
would you please give him back his ring, and then he'll agree to go with us, maybe, if he wants to. But I think that's the first step.
I just think relying on a maybe is going to put us in more danger than it's worth.
I think we've been relying on a lot of maybes for a long time.
How it will be done, you know.
You gotta
Oh.
remember, Grin, fate's on our side.
Hmm.
Just huge shitting grin at that one.
Yeah. You're not in the zone, are you?
Nope.
Fair enough.
I was specifically standing outside of it.
I mean, out of character, I could roll persuasion. I just don't want to because I don't want to be that guy. But that's his thing.
Yeah, no, Anu is going to attempt to convince Grin to give Vin the ring, and then once Vin has the ring, she will say, would you please join our group?
If you join our group, we have many, many more stories to tell you. I promise.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting to see if he gives me back the ring. That's the only time I'm making any decisions.
And I'm just gonna be
He's
wide-eyed staring at Grin until he does it with a sad face.
he's going to look real reluctant about it, but he'll give the ring back.
Okay.
Slips on his finger. All right, fine. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Wait. Now we have
right,
your word.
Yes. All right, I will take you to Cool to here. I know how to get there, and then from there we can go to Yithrin. That's a little bit more abstract.
You have your
We do
word
have
that
a
you
few
will.
contracts to fulfill first.
And
Aw.
may I ask you, just out of the, or however you wish. I don't know if the zone of truth still works now that you have the ring.
Real
No,
trusting
it does.
lot.
It does. It does.
A
It
real
does,
trust.
though.
Have to be in this little magical circle to trust each other.
Also,
You can
Chris,
feel the magic still compels to you. So yeah, go ahead.
I just want to make sure I'm not metagaming this.
Yeah.
So way back when you sent me the stats for my book of dragons.
Yep.
The information you sent me, do I know who made it?
No. You have no idea who made it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Would you mind just telling us why are you compelled to look for or why the many-starred cloak?
Actually, do mind.
No, why? Like, just if we're traveling together and we're helping you do this, you can't just do us that one favor?
I have done you quite enough favors. Again, it would have been different had I been talked to you like a respectable person. But after the grilling and the trust is a two-way street, Kino. And I've given a lot of it. I've given you way more than I've told honestly anyone else in my life.
Well, you have enough information about me to put me to death about 12 times over, so.
Yeah, same here.
Not exactly. What you do is, I mean, I don't mean to downplay what you've done, but I mean, let's be honest. Come on. Small potatoes.
Yeah, you're, I think, drastically underestimating what you know. and how important it is to some certain people.
I know
But
nothing.
whatever.
Is it sunny
Yeah.
outside? Did the thing get
No,
activated?
no. He hasn't activated the item yet. He's still listening to all this, by the way. He's just not
They
saying.
they
anything.
owe
Yep.
promises owed and promises kept. That's all I'm saying.
I'm
Yeah,
just
so
gonna go
he-
and look at the
he-
summer star, by
he-
the way.
Yeah, he does. As you do, and there's 4 now concentric circles around it, with glowing runes that slightly glow around it. He does go to. He says, "Abel, by the way, are you going to use this item, or am I going to use it?"
Abel's been attuning to it through this whole
Oh, okay.
discussion.
Grin, I
Perfect.
give you the amulet.
It would be ready now. It's ready.
He also has his map out, using his timepiece for different, directions and stuff,
Mhm.
and trying to figure out, like, based on what he said, where to center it to get the greatest effect per 10 pounds.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so so that's the other thing. That's what he meant. He says here's the greatest thing about this item. He said if you actually have a map, you can literally visualize that point on the map and it'll go anywhere you want. And he points to the map that's on the table and he shows you exactly where to. By the way, the map on the table has no markings on it at all. It's your map is better. He shows you exactly where to put it. So you can put it there now. He says, but timing is going to be up to you. Whatever time.
I was considering that. Did you have a thought on when you thought it would be? I mean,
He said, well, he said
Noon's-
noon is a good. He said noon is definitely a good time. 4 might be a good time. He said, I know the local fishermen cycles now. They happen to fish around like 2 o'clock. But that's only because right now what ends up happening is anytime after 5, and it's just too cold. And they don't do it in the morning because a lot of them have other things they're doing. He said, he said, quite frankly, he said, it's really up to you. He said, if you wanted it to be 3 in the morning, it's fine. He said, I suggest you don't do it then. He said, folks tend to go to bed around like 7 here, but he said, I would probably, I don't know, if it were me, maybe 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, I was thinking.
But clearly, any time I set it to is going to begin to drive natural cycles.
Yep. That's right. That is exactly what's going to happen. Exactly. People are going to start planning their entire days around this hour. Yep.
What do you guys think?
Oh, so when I stand up, I'm gonna pass the amulet to Grin that I got off
Okay.
of Akritas.
Yep.
Out of curiosity, is his body still there, or is it? Did it reanimate? What is it?
Oh,
look
so you haven't gone through and looked yet, but
I'll do that.
if you go back and look, his bones are gone. They're now back in his body. Yep.
Is his
Oh, good.
robe still there?
No, he's wearing all of his stuff. Yeah, he's
Oh.
wearing everything.
Except for the amulet that I took off his body.
That's right. He doesn't even know you guys are still in it yet.
All right,
He has
I am
no
I am
idea.
I am holding on to that. Then I am.
Yeah, he doesn't know. Yep. Yeah, though the amulet is the least of his worries. And remember, he has amnesia, so he doesn't even really remember like everything right now anyway. So yeah, he has no idea.
So yeah, I turn to Makritis and go. So, Copper misses you a lot, but you should also go see about the whole Elemenster thing.
He said, "No, I am." He said, "Thank you." He points to Grin. He says, "Thank you." He says, "I'm leaving now." He said, "Is there anything that anyone needs to ask me or whatever before I go?"
Could you let that girl have your spellbook?
He said, "No." He said, "I can't." He said, "I honestly." And he said,
like 1 page.
He said, "No." He said, "Are you looking for something in particular?" He looks at you.
Give her
Honoring.
a scroll for fireball.
He said, "Ask me." He said, "What are you looking for in particular?" I'll tell you if I. He says, "Here's the thing. I would have to write it down, so it's going to take an hour. He'd have to like literally write it down, which is going to take a little bit." He said, "So that because it would use the thing otherwise." He said, "But he said I promise." He said, if we'll have to come up with a place to meet or whatever. But if you give me something and I can do it, I'll give you 1 spell. But you have to ask him, and no guarantee that he'll be able. He might not even have it, but you have to ask.
Ooh, look at that! You got a golden ticket.
Should I ask for
Is
I-
Johnny's tome still with his stuff?
The rod.
Yeah, it's still there. Johnny's spellbook's still there. Everything Johnny had on him is still with him.
I'll walk over and I'll gather up his stuff and fold it up and hand it all
Do-
to brother to put in the bag.
Okay.
Wi-
Yeah, let me go
wizard,
back to that. Yeah.
wizard.
Yes.
Do you know anything about a green mirror?
He said I don't. He said a green mirror? Yeah, he doesn't know about this particular part of the
If you
Yeah.
if you knew it, that would be enough for you.
he said I don't.
Can I ask if you have either of two spells in case you don't have one of them?
He said sure. He said you can ask, yep.
Do you have Fireball or Fly?
He said he does not have fireball. However, he said he does have fly. He said, "Can you use it if I
Yes.
write it down?" He said, "Well," he said yeah. He said I can write it down, but it's going to take time. He said you're going to have to meet up with me somewhere. It's going to take me hours,
Of course.
but I'll write the whole spell down for you.
Would you be able to give it to Copper once we head back to Bryn Shaddar?
He said I could. Yeah, he said I could.
He knows where we're staying.
Yes.
Do you know anything about Shadespire?
He said he said how do you know? He said how do you know about Shadespire?
Like I said, we're just a bunch of
What
fools.
is that?
This gets
Tailspire
better.
DLC?
This gets better and better.
Yeah, he said no, but he said I can tell you, but he said first I really need to know. Like, how do you know anything about Shadespire?
Because you told us about Shadespire when you were dead, silly.
He said I really don't remember that. He said I really don't remember that. He said
It'll come
listen,
back to you.
yeah, he does. He says so. He explains that he basically explains that Shadespire is a city. It's a lost city in the north of Icewind Dale. Everyone presumably died there. Some kind of like catastrophic event happened. That's all he remembers for now.
No new information then.
All right,
Yeah.
can we go now?
Uh,
The only question I believe so. The only questions I have are:
Yep.
thing is still running. Is that going to be a problem?
Well, he's. What do you mean? I'm sorry. What do you mean specifically? What's still running specifically?
Starlight Sky generator.
Oh, the night sky. Like he's saying, did the magic of the night sky that was going through the different
yeah,
planes?
no,
is that
I'm
fixed?
Oh yeah. That's no, you can no longer see the night sky in the ceiling. If I didn't explain that, sorry.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
So
it's no longer up.
This building is not supernatural or anything, as best I can tell now.
As far as you know, it's not. There's still definitely residual magics in this building, but it's not like it was.
Oh, before we
It,
leave,
it may still be magic. It may very well still be magic. And but if you ask him that, he says, "Look, he says there's something weird going on with this cabin." He said there always was. He said that's why I chose this place. He said something happens here when you die. You don't actually die when you die within this cabin. That happened before I started working on this star. I figured that out a long time ago. It brings you to something called the border erythrium, which is this place in between life and death. He said that's why. He said I died, but I didn't really die. He said if I had, we'd all be in serious trouble because, as you know, I mean I don't. This isn't common knowledge, but resurrections aren't exactly working all
yeah,
the time
we
these
know.
days. So he said, yeah. So no, there's something weird about this cabin. So there's absolutely something weird about this cabin, but
We
said
think the
that-
resurrection thing is because of Asarak.
he said, yeah, I guess that would make sense. He said I heard rumors about that too. I thought they were fake. He said, why? But if you're saying this, that means you must know more.
We had a
Just by
little
now,
bit.
the circle's probably shut off, right?
Yeah. The circle's no longer active. It only stays for 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's no longer active.
Right.
Yeah, brother's just gonna sit down on
And-
the floor against the wall and rest a minute.
Where do we want to go? Part of me feels like we should set this thing off before anyone knows.
Oh no, he definitely wants you to set it off before he leaves. He's not going to leave until it's set. That the whole point is for him to make sure this thing goes off. So
Well, I
Set
mean,
the shit off and let's go.
is this the best location, or where did I figure was the best location?
yeah, no, it's actually in the middle of the map. So it's the dead center of the map. Yeah.
So we can jump to that point.
No, you can actually tell it to go there. Now that you have, you can literally just tell the object to go there and it'll go there. So you can release it outside, activate it, it'll go there on its own.
Okay.
Yep.
That we can do.
And what time did you, if you do activate it, what time are you giving all the people of?
I feel like knowing the warm points at the end of the day, early afternoon, my sense is 2 o'clock.
Okay. All right. All right. So you guys see Abel put all the concentric circles up. Abel, I assume you walk outside briefly to do this.
Yeah.
You guys see Abel activate the item. It does glow incredibly bright to the point where you have to shield your eyes, and it zooms off. It's now activated. So at 2 o'clock now, and you'll be able to. People in town will obviously know this tomorrow. It'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow will be the first time it goes off. But
I should. What time is it now?
oh, it's 7 o'clock at night. So
Can we?
So what's the next step? What do we decide? What are we doing next?
Thank you. Let's.
We could
Here.
we could go talk to that evil wizard that they found in East Haven. Or I mean,
Or we could
not
go
talk
back
to
home
him.
and get a beer.
I mean, there's always time for beer. We could always get a beer in East Haven.
I'm a fan of going back home and taking the rest of the evening off.
You know what?
I am
That sounds
going
like
to put.
well, this is definitely a good time for us to stop. So think about what you guys want to do for next time, and then we'll pick up exactly where we left off here.
I might interject. Is there any reason that we wouldn't teleport back to the village?
No, you could definitely do that. You
Yeah.
could absolutely teleport.
We could
As a matter of
totally
fact,
just go back.
teleport is by far the safest way to travel in Icewind Dale once you've seen it. The only problem with teleport when there's a blizzard going off, and you know this, Abel, right now it's still a mild blizzard, is that you have the DC is just a little, you still have to roll the D100, and you've got a 5-point variation on catastrophic failure. But that's it. It's just because it's a blizzard and there's a lot of moving objects when you teleport. It talks about this but that's all that it is. So it's pretty safe.
So I will say, it'll be a little tougher. Not bad. It won't be a problem. And we'll be back tonight. We'll just step outside and go do it.
Can we just do that? Can we do it then?
Also, when we're headed back, Chris, I'm going to do a little prayer about
Sure.
the questions we had talked about.
Yeah, of course. Yep.
So I tell you back then.
Well, I wanted to do one thing before we leave.
Yep. Go for it.
So when we're getting ready to leave and teleport back, Grin's gonna approach Brother.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sitting on the floor.
He's going to literally pick Brother up like by the robe,
Yeah, I'll let him.
to his feet, and not hurting him, just pin him against the wall.
Gross.
And kiss him.
No,
Sorry.
The
sorry.
entire eroticism.
Is that Can You Feel the Love Tonight playing in the background?
Come on, Bard. Do your thing.
No.
Yeah.
wow.
No,
Got
no.
right into the cursed content.
And just very quietly, he's gonna say, "You do not cast hostile spells against party members. Do not do it again. I don't care what's going on between you and Kino, but it ends now."
But it would have been really funny if it would have hit her face, though.
I don't. It's not funny to me. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you right now,
You would have saw it float through the air and just boink right on her nose, and then
No.
it hit the floor.
brother.
No,
Come on, you would have laughed.
Brother,
imagine if
I'm
someone
not-
else.
I'm not laughing.
Okay, fine. You are the best of us, and I respect that.
Hey.
And he'll let him go.
I
Okay.
mean, it's true, but you don't have to say it in front of everybody.
I mean, it was just to him.
Yeah, it was.
We were having an aside.
You were having
Yep.
an affair.
What? I give Grin another hug.
Brother's too tall for Grin.
All right, cool. So Elise, between now and next week, we'll talk and go through more of your character backstory, all that fun stuff. So that because by tomorrow or so, you'll have a better recollection of everything anyway. And then, all right, good. We actually did not get as far as I thought we would, but we got
You
farther
gotta,
into
stop,
than I
the next
you gotta
expected.
room.
stop
We went
expecting
into-
things from us.
We went into the
honestly,
next room.
I was gonna say well, yes, at least, but at the very least, we got the Summer Star concluded,
Oh,
which is actually that was gonna be iffy if that was gonna happen. So, and you guys did a great job. By the way, Grin, you did a fucking phenomenal job. I mean, I don't know if people you got not only
Yeah, he
lucky,
killed
but the
it.
fact that you're
Yeah.
seriously, like if that didn't happen, I don't even know that we would have resolved this today. So, you did a great job.
Sorry that I
I
felt
mean,
it
it's
like
the
a
one
spell.
thing. It's the one thing I'm good at is not dying.
Yeah. As a
Also,
matter of fact, this encounter is not even so. Part of this encounter was the canon encounter, which the only canon part of this was the Summer Star itself, which does actually do that. It's not obviously built for orcs because it's just expected to kill you. So that was good. That was definitely good. Yeah.
and it wasn't only solving and fixing the Summer Star. The fact that we now have our evil doubles being hunted and
Yeah,
evil elements
exactly.
are being looked at, like it. I mean, the amount
Yeah.
of damage control that we got going this
Yeah.
session was amazing.
How the
Yeah,
turntables.
no, I mean seriously, you guys did quite a bit. That the only I did expect us to get back to town, like in a perfect world, we got back to town and did some other stuff. But seriously, we did a lot this session. Like this was good,
Come on, let's
and
keep
we
going.
resolved the stuff that we had to do on top of that. Like if like Vinny's going to be in the group, we had to resolve all this stuff too. So that's good. I mean, part of it is also getting like characters like this that aren't aligned, and that's a big part of it. So.
Yeah, and
That was good.
Gage, I am sorry. Nothing short of us crashing into other planes would have caused my questioning to end, and my questioning basically would have continued to me telling you about the Brotherhood and me getting answers that would have revealed things. So unfortunately, we didn't get to those because the literal universe was crashing down on us. So if just know that it was in character tension that I was trying to resolve, but that
Yeah,
is the extent of it.
It's hard to get through things that take complex answers when there's a lot of things going on and everyone is trying to ask questions themselves and get answers themselves. So
Yeah.
there was multiple times I was trying to begin the process of explaining it, and then someone would cut me off with another question, or my character wants to do this,
Yeah.
which is it's just the nature of playing online. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's
Just talk over us.
well, no, I'm not prepared to do that. I will wait my turn.
I also just wanted to apologize. They gave the ring to the least friendly and the most stubborn.
Yeah, and by the way, that is going to be the way it is. I mean, like it or not, we have a large group. It's just going to be that way. So you just have to like roll with it, unfortunately. And the other thing too is that when it comes down to all this stuff as well, guys, I want to make this very, very clear too. Like all of it, it's designed and gone through it. Like I have no problem with tension at all. The only time that it will be iffy or get into a problem is like if people start like getting like frustrated out of character, or whatever, and then that's no good. That's
I
the
think
end.
what it comes
Like,
down to is, as much as we have
Yeah.
some characters who would like a long, complex answer to be given, characters that want to do that, you also have a number of characters who, want a straight answer in a sentence. You know what I mean? And they're like, once you
Exactly.
start into lengthy, they're like, I don't trust you.
Yeah.
I think Grin's probably there, Abel's kind of there.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he's not oversimplified answers to complex problems is not how he views the world.
Well, I get it. I'm just there's going to be that tension when
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly Abel. That's exactly what I'm trying to convey too. Is the fact that it's by design. It's totally fine to have tension. Like it's totally fine for characters to have tension. It's only not fine like if it gets into the realm of like people are like personally like getting upset or they think there's personal attacks, or whatever. That's not okay. And not only is it not okay, if it's not fun, fuck it. There's no reason to do it. Like that's just dumb. We're wasting all of us would be wasting our time. So my point is that yes, it's totally fine to have tension. It's totally fine to go through all that. It's supposed to be set up for character growth. If it ever gets to the point though where it's like not fun, or where people, or if it's worse, if people think it's personal or whatever, then you'll have to talk to me, because that will not work. Like, no way will that work. So I'd rather people not even play if that were the case. So that's my point. Like, I built this game to allow tension. Like, I actually think the tension between, like, for instance, Brother and Kino in the beginning and all that stuff, think it's great. I think it's necessary for dynamic character interactions and all that stuff. So your tension, your character's tension, I think is totally fine. If it gets to the point though where like it's personal or something, no, that will never be fine. So everyone should keep that in mind. So
Right.
Yeah, it's also, there is a lot of moving parts in this story, and the characters, just based on what they've been through,
Yeah.
is I yeah, it's a tough spot, but I think just based on this session, I see it getting a lot better.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. I mean, that's the reason why there should be character tension. The reason why there should be character tension is everyone in this group in particular truly cares about their character, cares about the story, cares about where it's going, cares about the future of it, all that stuff. So if there is any tension, the motivation has to be from there. I mean, that's the reality, right? Like, anytime that Brother's giving you a hard time, anytime that Kino's giving you a hard time, anytime that Grin's giving you a hard time, because Grin did actually try to like Grin actually gave in quite a bit too, which was going to be iffy as well, because his character may or may not have given in there. But it does stem from a place where, like, especially Grin, especially Brother, especially Kino, they really just care about their character and care about the party. And that's why I was saying this, that's why the meta on the zone is so important in that, because if your character understands that the motivation is survival, and uh, if the motivation is survival and the motivation is cooperation, that's a different motivation than survival on an us versus them mentality. Like Grin only cares about himself and his group surviving, and would kill you in a heartbeat. And that's where it gets complex, and that's where like everybody has to play along in a cooperative story and all that fun stuff too. So that was my other point, is that at the end of the day, it's a cooperative narrative. So
And that's understood. The disassociation is between the two conflicting perspectives of an outsider's perspective on the actions being taken place and the reasoning for those actions, and then the perspective of those things from the party's point of view. Because all Vincantio is seeing is a lot of infighting, a member of their party dying. They get over it seemingly very quickly, move past it, begin
oh yeah,
to
that's why I think it's reasonable. I think everything. No, that's what I was trying to say. I think all of your stuff is totally reasonable. That's, let me be very, very clear. I think the way you're playing your character is completely reasonable. I don't think any of that at all. The only reason why I said what I said is if at any point this becomes like if you were personally frustrated or whatever, just let me know, because that won't work. Like, no fucking way. But if it's just your character being frustrated, yeah, dude, absolutely. You should absolutely, your character should feel that way.
And I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, because I did. I have to metagame this, because from his perspective, there's no reason he would hang out with any one of you anymore.
Well, no, that's the other part that I'm saying though. So here's the other thing. You do have to meta it to some degree. What I'm actually telling you, everyone has to, by the way. It's one of the biggest tropes I always see in D&D. There is two parts of this. Absolutely, I expect you to 100% play to your character. However, this is why I will not do the fucking Tasha social contract, by the way, even though I know where they were going with this, and it's brilliant in its overall design, because the social contract also, if you read it in Tasha's, talks about this very thing. At the end of the day, the most important part though is we are playing a cooperative fantasy game. And so if you ever get to a point where your character's like, yeah, well, whatever, the way I built my character, he would just, like, stab Brother, slit his throat, and go out. Fuck it. You can do that, but then they can also kill you and you won't be able to play in the group. And that's the reality of what would end up happening. And so there's a meta to that says, if that is your character's motivation, or if your character would never be with them or whatever, you either have to change your character's motivation or you don't play. because that's the truth of it. Like, you do have to actually meta that part. Like, everyone does. Brother has to do that. Keno has to do that. Abel has to do that. Everyone has to meta to the point that you will always, always, always keep group cohesion no matter what. Even if it means changing a character motivation, because group cohesion is the most important part to a cooperative story. So absolutely, you do have to meta that. Whenever I hear people saying, "Oh, that's bullshit," or whatever, it's actually wrong. Like, that's complete nonsense. Because what ends up happening, I've played in several games actually that didn't have that, and what'll end up happening is that eventually it will fall down, because if you don't have that cohesion element, it just doesn't work. It never will. And that's why, and it's also why I didn't do the social contract, because even though Tasha's wasn't out when I started or whatever, I thought about when Tasha's came out doing the social contract. That's the other extreme of nonsense, where it's like, basically you build this contract that says, if everyone doesn't play nice and everyone doesn't give everyone a chance to shine and all this stuff, then you just kick them out and everyone votes and you kick them out. That's also a little extreme on the other side of it. So this is the middle ground. The middle ground is this. You can actually do whatever you want. You can do conflict whatever you want. If you really, really, really want to slit someone's throat, whatever, you'll deal with the consequences. But the consequences might be that you don't play anymore. Like, for instance, when